Good evening, YouTube. It's been always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. I know, folks, that I kind of have the live stream later than usual. I had some stuff going on. I was busy today. I had to go to the DMV to renew my license. I didn't get out of there till almost 1 o'clock. Got home, and then they had to do some work here in my apartment. And you don't want to be having guys banging around you, so you just say, well, you know what? I'm just going to push the live stream back for a bit, and then we can do it, and it's just one of the things that happen in life. You always got to be prepared. You got to roll with the punches. So, folks, as you know, there's not much going on. It's going to be a little bit quiet for a good while in bodybuilding. No shows until the next year, and not much to talk about. But often I try to find something that really gets my attention, especially in the sport. If you follow my social media, I have announced that it's announced that Ashley Jones has switched divisions. Next year she's going to be premiering in women's bodybuilding, and I'm a big fan of Ashley. I think she had a great physique, great look to her. I mean, this is something I feel like it was a long time coming. I love this picture right here. This is my favorite here. Yeah. Oh, wow. I mean, I don't know. This it's just I perv out of it. I mean, look at her quads, look at the abs, look at just that smile and everything. I mean, but I still love my girl. Right here, we have my partner. He was absent because he was on the other side of the world. He was like going to water, using his moniker, Scuba Steve. We're going to bring him in. This is my man. This is the main man, X-Bang Coon himself. He was here. I don't know what's going on. I just saw him pop in, and must be some difficulties. We'll give him a minute, and he can come back on, But anyway, as you know, that's my man, Big Keith Williams, aka Mr. Scuba Steve himself. He's right now with his wife, the lovely Miss T.S. Williams. They are working with John Simmons, and John is the coach and trainer of our favorite woman of all time, the lovely Miss Andrea Shaw. Oh, I just love talking about her. She's just a beautiful lady. And here he is, he's back. And there he is. He finally came back to scene the crime. Yeah, he's up there in D-Town. You can see under the windows, like ice and snow or something.
It's rain. It's snowing here. For Christ's sakes.
Yeah, I couldn't. When it snows down here, even just half an inch, everything is shut down. It can be just barely a little bit. Everybody,
Cause y'all
your
people from the
prediction that.
south are weenies in the south. That's why. I love you too.
Yeah, you can take that love. But anyway, right now his lovely wife is working with the John Simmons, the man who trains our woman. And I want to mind you, don't you touch my woman. Keep your hands off her.
Oh,
I
I
know
just heard
you.
you talking about Ashley. Oh, look at those quads. Look at how do you
Hey,
think Andrea feel about that?
like this. Hey. As long as me and Andrew have understanding, I can follow other women. But the fact is, I still love her, and I want you around her. You already got a wife. You already got a pretty woman. You can't be greedy. So anyway, my brother, he had a nice little trip, so he's back in action. So as we heard, I would post this, but a while back I got a thing saying that I cannot post any videos from the Female Bodybuilding channel because it's copyrighted. Usually it shouldn't be a problem, but I don't know. But Ashley has officially made her transition from physique to bodybuilding, and that's pretty good because she's only been a pro for maybe a little over 4 years. And she earned a pro card in figure about 2018, it's almost 5 years ago. And for the last 2 years, she was competing in figure. And then she made a debut 2021 in Zeke. And she did 2 shows, which was Tampa, and also she did Texas Pro. She took second to Tampa and earned a qualification in Texas. My man got little problems; he'll be back in a minute. And also, she came back. She was going to go to Olympia that year, if you know the story. And then she got sick. She posted, it was her trainer at the time. They posted that she couldn't do the show, and I was so disappointed. She looked great. I mean, she had a great look to a great physique, and I felt certain she would do pretty well at the Olympia. It's just things that happens, especially in life in the world. But I'm a fan of Ashley Jones. I think she has a great look to her, maybe amazing body, good details. A while back, she did a little guest posing, and here's a video here from her guest posing. It was a show in Idaho. I say Iowa, it's Idaho. You know, I don't want to play the music because you know how it is. She look like she got a lot thicker. You can really see. You know, she's moving. She's about. I think she's about the same height as I believe Christina Bryant Jackson, who competed last year. And I think, you know, as you know, Christina Bryant, she decided to step away from bodybuilding. She's officially retired. And this is, you know, my brother back. He just got back. Look at you. Look at Ashley doing her routine. There's a guest posing. And she's actually put on a lot of size since we last competed. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, she put some size since she last competed. That was 2021. And she competed at Olympia last year. She took 11th. But right here, she guest
What place
posing.
was she in women's physique?
11th at the Olympia.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You know, because she was 11th and Miss Type was 8th.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, I think I think she said she's only 5 feet tall. It's not really short as they can put on, you know, size and muscle more than the girls a lot taller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's great. Like I said, you know, she's just an inch taller than Michaela.
Yep.
So,
she looked bigger than Michaela, way bigger than Michaela though.
Yeah. I think she just got more size in the quads and the legs compared to Michaela. Michaela still is a bit undersized at some points. This is from when she competed at Texas. That was back, I believe, back in 2021. Or was it? Yeah, it's 2021 because this is a different posing suit. She took second that show. She won it this is 2022 when she competed at Texas, and she took second in 2022, but she won it in 2021. And guess who took second to 2022? Melissa Tyke. And, you know, and I think it probably was a call for both of them to move up. You know, and we keep hearing a lot of these girls say, "I don't want to go to bodybuilding. I don't want to feel like I don't want to lose my femininity and yeah. But when you get to a point in your process when you're getting bigger and getting size, you know, the division that you're in, it's not the division you belong to anymore. You have to move up. And also, if you don't know, she's also being trained by Andrew Wu. He's the same guy that trains both Natalia Coelho, also Jessica Reyes Padilla right there in the background. You see Jessica, and also Evie Rain, and also they interviewed a while back Sylvia Tran. And we see, look at her about her traps and her arms. She's really put on some size.
Yeah, she has.
Yeah,
she's a big girl. You know, it'll be interesting to see, you know, how that translates to the women's bodybuilding because she definitely has a size. But you know, as I was talking to, you know, the world champs coach today, and my coach as well, you know, it's just like, you know, what people don't understand is it's just like watching that show, the last show in Romania. What people have to understand a lot of times is these girls look great by themselves until you put them in a crowd, you know. And when it comes to Andrea, in my opinion, what everybody should start doing is like looking from second on to where they're going to fit in, because it's from the symmetry aspect of things and everything that you see from Andrea. It's like two guys, Samson Adua and Andrew. You know, these guys' symmetry is what's going to evolve them in front of the guys who are the 1 and 2 guys right now. The same thing with Andrea. These got girls that, like, especially Ashley, as I looked at her pictures, studied her pictures, her waistline has to change a little bit. She has the muscle, but again, at the end of the day, everybody as a pro bodybuilder getting ready for the 2024 season, everybody looks good by themselves until you put them next to somebody. And I can see she's made a smart decision by moving to women's bodybuilding, because it's somebody like that doesn't fit in women's physique anymore because she's too big. So with the muscle mass and the density that she carries, it's a good transition for her. Where is she going to end up when she's standing next to Angela and somebody like, you know, I would say Angela and somebody like
Michaela.
not even Michaela, because Michaela didn't place in the top 5 this year.
Oh, like
You know,
maybe
like
Sherry
Sherry, like,
or
and like Sherry, and Sherry is in that transition phase where Angela had to put on size last year because she knows she had to put on size to stand next to Andrea. But here lies the problem. Even though she put on size, and I want to say she put on 10 pounds of muscle, she still looks small compared to because I found out today, because I train with John as well, and I'm in Detroit at his gym. I said, well, how much did Andrea weigh on stage? She was 165 at 5'5", 5'6". Well, Tina is 5'9" and was on stage at 169. So she looked tiny compared to Andrea. So that's what people have to take into effect, is when they're looking at somebody like, and I don't know what her weight is, and I'm not going to people assume she was but I say she's made the correct move in moving to women's bodybuilding. That's a move that is, because again, when you look at the 2 girls from the Romania show, the one girl who was, I want to say second.
Oh,
the one thing that
yeah, Anastasia
from Russia,
yeah, she's from
yeah,
Russia. She lives in Romania, yeah.
And the one thing that people have to understand, and this was me and John was talking about today, symmetry matters. Symmetry matters. When you're looking at guys and when you're looking at girls on stage, symmetry matters. And Andrea's body flows so well from the quads to the waist, especially. See, I'm a judge. And what we, in the world of bodybuilding, we call waist to lat ratio. Andrea has such a tiny waist, and I'll see her tomorrow because her and Tina are training tomorrow, but she has such a tiny waistline, and she has these huge quads, these ginormous quads and these huge delts in this tiny waist, which makes everything look so much bigger. So I always tell people, it's going to be interesting, and they won't see her till either World Championships, if Ashley gets into the World Championships, or the Olympia, because you won't see Andrea till then. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see these girls, because I even think it's crazy, and this is for another day conversation, when I was just reading the new rules on the only person that's qualified right now for the women's Olympia next year is Andrea. Nobody else.
Actually,
they didn't. No. If you go to Generation Iron, and it's really confusing, and I'm trying to figure it out now, because they said in every category besides women's bodybuilding, there's no qualifications, I don't even think, for wellness or anything else. Everybody has to requalify because they changed the rules for 2023. Yeah, I'll send you the article.
I know it was last time it was top 5. Then they made top 3. And
now they're trying to change it again. It's crazy.
I mean, it don't make no sense, because one thing is that, especially if especially someone like
the only class that in the Olympia this year is, and that's what John says. John said they're going to have to go back to the point system because there's just not enough girls. And we talked about this, George. Yeah. If I am Jake, and I am Jake Woods, and I've spent all this time and energy, and I understand the Olympia stage in a whole is bigger, but if I've spent all this time and energy to bring back women's bodybuilding, to only see 10 women on stage, that's ridiculous, because we know they don't have enough shows. They don't do the point system anymore. So the end result at the end of the day is what we're seeing this year will happen again next year, but just in Vegas.
Yeah. But here we have Leroy Kong. He says he just showing hearts. He's so excited. We have here Susan Boobs. This is somebody new. Who says, "Hey," and it says, "How are you doing?" I'm all right, Susan. How are you doing? I mean, who are you? And welcome. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy because, like I said, the Master Olympia show is going to be bi-yearly, as we talked about before, and don't know what's going on with Puerto Rico. Lost Savannah, and I talked to ladies. Physique says we got a few shows. No, you have still a little bit more shows. Just the problem is you got someone like Natalia Cuejo who's going to do 2 or 3 shows. She just did the Olympia right after, just did the show in Fort Lauderdale, Atlantic Coast show right after the Olympia. And then more likely, knowing her, she's going to probably do a show like either Pittsburgh, she's done before, in New York, and then she might do another show. And that cuts down your number because you have somebody who was one time the champion and also second runner up to the champion competing in shows. I understand some ladies say, some ladies understand that it's about being competitive, but others who I've talked to, I'm not gonna say their names, but they say that it's truthfully in their mindset it's not fair because you already got your spot. Why take our spot?
Well, here's the thing, and here's why I say that's a very argumentative situation. Samson Dua was third at the Olympia, won the Arnold, which is we know $125,000 bag. One was third at the Olympia, which is $100,000. Went to Romania, won the Romania show because now if we're saying the top three is all he qualified, won the Romania, so now he's won the Romania, so he's qualified for the Olympia, right? And just went to the Prague show and won that. So that's 4 shows in a year. Now, mind you, Samson said, and I'm a big fan of his, and I follow him and we talk a lot. He said, look, we're trying to figure things out for 2024. And like he said, he already put out his plan. I'm doing the Arnold and I'm doing the Arnold UK because I'm from England. So is that fair or unfair? At the end of the day, as my son once told me when we bowl and people don't like his score, it says, be better. Because at the end of the day, people trying to collect checks and I don't, and that's a hard thing to deal with because I've watched Dexter do it. Dexter goes into the the New York Pro. He goes into the Tampa, wins these shows when other guys are trying to qualify. So it's one of those things that people got to understand. It's like, it's not fair, but these people are not going to these shows to take spots away. These people are going to these shows because it's their job. If you talk to Sean Ray, if you talk to Kevin Levrone, if you talk to Flex Wheeler, if you talk to Ronnie Coleman, in the 90s, these guys would do 5 or 6 shows after Olympia. There's actually a thing, if you go to Kevin Leverone's page, that Joe Weider says, making you Mr. Olympia gets you 1 check. You coming in 2nd, 3rd, or 4th gets you multiple checks after the Olympia. So people have to understand they can't keep looking at the situation saying, oh, well, it's not fair and she's taking a spot from me. No, we already understand, and we've had this conversation multiple times. Women's physique and women's bodybuilding and all these other classes don't get the same bags as men's bodybuilding. So whatever, if I don't know what 2nd place was in Olympia, 25,000, and she's and you are right to some degree when it comes to, well, how much are these checks at these damn small shows she's doing? They can't be that big. They're kind of like women's bodybuilding. But again, as far as I look at things, some people are experimenting with their bodies, trying to do multiple shows. I mean, and we had a guy do it, and I don't hear anybody bitching about Samson winning the Arnold, placing 3rd at the Olympia, placing 2nd at the winning the Romania, and then winning the Prague. So he's won 4 shows, George, in 1 year, 2024. So 125, 250, 225, 225, 230, 235, 245,000 he's made in 4 shows. Like the man said, I'm trying to buy a house in England. I'm trying to change my life. So that's why he's competing in all these shows. And you're as a competitor, my job, if I'm bitching about it, my job is to be better or beat them. That's the thing. So that's what we have to understand. And so and that goes for the men and women side of things. So I understand what everybody's saying, but you have to realize that their checks are smaller. So if she plays 2nd, she's going to do other shows, I would say, because she wants to feel like, sometimes people want to feel rectify their self because of their loss, or they just trying to collect checks. So
yeah, that's the part. But still, I think also she has promoters, some that pay her to do it, because you think about it. I said again, sometimes shows you other than maybe I think Sarah's put up money for the Pittsburgh. She put $20,000 last couple of years, and she up $15,000 for Texas. That's possibly a show that the Terry might do. We have somebody here, Keith. He might, and I think he might want to come in. And this is Raheem Hamilton. He says, "Are you live?" Yes, Raheem, we're live. And you know what, Raheem? You're off work today. It's after it's after 4 o'clock. He says, great Monday evening watching you show,
Cooking spray.
watching you reruns of the step by step on Max and ironing my clothes for the work tomorrow. I used to watch
Cooking
Rest in
spray.
Peace to the lovely Suzanne Summers, who starred in that series. We got a man here, XA23. He says, hi, George. Hi there, XA. Shout out to you, brother. Thank you for coming through. But like I said, the thing is, like, back with Ashley, that she's like, since she's just 32 years old. She's still a bit young compared to some of the ladies in the sport now. I mean, I think right now the youngest person who reached Olympia in women's bodybuilding is Michaela. I think Michaela is like 28, 29. And then you have Chelsea. I think she's 32, 31. And it's, I think, like I said, we talk about how it's, I think it is these girls who are coming in who are a lot younger, who have those aesthetics for women's bodybuilding that keeping the division going compared to other divisions where you still have the women who are established, like people like Andrea Hella. Hella, she's supposed to be making her return in 2024. There's also Teresa Vasic, who kind of she slumped off a little bit, but she's coming back. And the big question is, like, this person you like is Jessica Martin. Will she return? And
Well, it's and Nikki.
yeah, Nikki Chartres, she's back. I mean, Nikki looked pretty good. I felt certain that Nikki was going to win at Tampa.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. Christina, no offense at all, Christina. I mean, Nikki got effed over because Christina dropped out. Which I'm sure Nikki would have loved to have that spot. And I remember that was another close show. And the same thing for Tampa with Jessica. Both of those shows were close. So it's one of those things where. So it was both of those shows were close. So it's one of those things where that's why I think you have to go on the point system for these girls. But it's one of those things, as we talked about, George. This is what's transitioning. Me and John talked about this today. You're going to see people like Ashley Jones, and you're going to see some of these girls who, like Michaela, or not Michaela, but Maya. When Maya crossed over and was last at the
Shreveport.
Last at the Shreveport show and went right to the New York Pro and won that show in Tampa. So what's going to, in which we were just talking about that today as well. I think sometimes some girls like Maya, who was perfect for going over to women's bodybuilding, start changing things about what they need to do. And I don't think she really didn't need to do much to stay in that top 5 realm. Now, that being said, we talked about this before. What's going on here? What's the transition here? You got these girls that are placing at the bottom, like Ashley. You look at the body, you're like, that's 11th place in women's physique. So if you look at, let's say, 11, so if that was 11, you look at 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. What did those girls look like? So if those girls are remotely close to Ashley's look, you're going to start, and I've always thought this, you're going to start, if I was a women's physique girl and I was in that 11 spot like Ashley, or 10 or 9 or 8 or 7 or 6, and they're remotely close, I'm sliding over to women's bodybuilding. You know why? Because in my humble opinion, a lot of the women's physique competitors that are borderline are in better condition than a lot of women bodybuilders. So I'm going to take my chances and not because come on, George. We all know that women's physique is a little overpopulated right now. Because if that girl Ashley is 11th, looking like that, and is 11th, that tells you that 1 through 5, and I guess we would have to look at 6 through 11 or 6 through 10 for that matter. What do those girls look like? Are they too big? Or what are we missing that we're not seeing? And if I'm one of those girls who are on the cusp or borderline, I'm going to women's bodybuilding. Because my chances fare better in women's bodybuilding than women's physique.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
The thing is, yeah, because like you look at it right here, 6, I think, was Evie Rain. I think Evie Rain took 6 that show. 5th, I believe, was probably Ann Moon. And Ann Moon has talked that she doesn't want to go over to women's bodybuilding. I'll put this picture right here. And this is from the last year. You have John Woo here in the middle. You have Evie on his left. You have Jessica Reyes-Padilla, who's figure on the right. You have right here. You have Ashley, and you have Raluca from Romania, who just got her qualification again as Romanian pro. These women, like I said, these are the top level women right now. I think Raluca was maybe a little low on the end, but still, I don't think she can switch over to bodybuilding because she still, she did bodybuilding for a minute, but it didn't work for her. It's Evie, her back, her shoulders are wide, but she's still a little small in the legs, and she has a good taper, but people say she should go over the women's bodybuilding, but she won't. Jessica, she might go over the physique, but she's gonna stay in figure and take second or third to Cindy Gillen. And I think I think this is really, John has the only female bodybuilding on his lineup. He's mostly girls with physique and some other figure. But and like this year we had a lot of women who competed at some shows or pro qualifiers, and they did not get their pro card because wasn't enough competitors. And it's always, I keep hearing the excuse like, oh, I don't want to do that division because especially overseas in Europe. I think it happens more in Europe than anything. This one lady got the interview tomorrow. She competed at a show, and she's supposed to get a pro card. Supposed to be 2 pro cards at the show. She's supposed to get. They gave it to the other woman instead of giving her pro card because she took second to this woman in the overall. And 2 other ladies. One lady I interviewed a while back. Her name is Issa. Issa's from originally Brazil, but she lives in Denmark with her husband. And she's big, thick, muscle Brazilian woman. She's also with this other lady, Amy Menendez, who they wasn't enough competitors, and they're gonna use that excuse to, hey, physique is crowded. If you go to a show and you got nearly 20 some girls over here, and then you got maybe 5 or 6, 8 over there, then you say, what? Especially if you look like you have the more aesthetics for women's bodybuilding, you say, well, all you gotta do is just like this. I remember this lady who I interviewed, a dear friend of mine, I call her Miss Sergeant Stacy Nunez. She was doing the Puerto Rico show. She was gonna do women's physique. She jumped over to women's bodybuilding because that show was only 3 women. Then another lady jumped over, and I think also a lady, Heather Foster jumped over. Heather Grace jumped over.
Yeah.
Heather, what mistake was Heather? She should have been working on her posing. She probably would have done better if she paid attention to the pose instead of doing some of the physique poses.
But Heather, Heather was a girl, that me and Heather had a relationship for a minute, and I can admit that. But I love Heather to death. But from the standpoint of Heather is a physique competitor there, and I think some girls like Teresa, she was like, maybe I should go to women's physique. No, you have too much mass. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. And again, what's sad to say is, for all, and I understand what Jada was saying about it's hard on some women, because I don't know how big Jada is, but she doesn't seem like she's that big of a person. So when a person like Jada is trying to put on size, it's a little bit harder on her body, and for supplementation purposes. But when you have somebody like Ashley, who looks like she has a size, and pictures can be deceiving, who looks like she has a size, it's probably an easier transition. This is what I say to these women. It's like, oh, I want to stay feminine. No offense and all. Look at the fucking champion right now, ladies. Look at Andrea Shaw right now. She is absolutely fucking gorgeous. So when you sit there and say, and she started off, guess what? In women's physique.
Actually, go further back. She was figure, then went to physique, and boom.
Exactly. Like Tina. Tina started off in figure, moved up to women's physique. Couldn't fit in women's physique because she was too big, and moved to women's bodybuilding. So when you sit there and very feminine and very beautiful. So when you ladies are sitting there saying, well, it's not, well, no offense and all, I'll take Andrea Shaw's beauty over no offense, Sarah's beauty. You can't even they're not even the same goddamn ballpark as far as looks concerned. Andrea's goddamn gorgeous. Not saying that Sarah's ugly, but she ain't but look wise, if I had to pick between the two, who you picking?
You know who I'm picking. You know who I'm picking. Sarah be that good.
Let's keep it 100.
I'd be like this. Sarah be that girl, like, you just got at the club, it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, you need to dig in something. That's Sarah. I mean,
we're not getting her out of bed, but if I had to choose between box 1 and box 2, I'm taking.
You just lost my.
I mean, that's just the fact. So
again, it bothers me for these girls, and like Jada's had a valid point. Jada said it was too hard on her body because Jada understood at her size that she had to get bigger. But we have some of these girls in women's physique who have the size because Angela is not the biggest person in the world either. Sherry is not the biggest person in the world either. Micaiah is not the biggest person in the world either. Andrea looks like a giant next to all these girls, but guess what? They're doing well in the world of women's bodybuilding. So when these women are saying that, they have to put things in perspective.
Yeah, we got here. This is for Susan. Susan Boob. She says, "I agree with Keith." Yeah.
Hello?
Also,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Also, we have here. This is from Raheem. We know why he did
I
this. He
can't
says,
hear you.
can you hear? Just you might not have to go in and out. Yeah, he might go in and out. He'll be back. This is for
Hello?
Raheem. Can you hear me? You got me? Yo, you might. It might be something. If he could get to a good Wi-Fi area, he might do pretty good. He might be going in and out because he's on the road right now. But here we get here from Raheem Hammer says, "I picked Sarah." You know why he picked Sarah? Because she has money. We have here from Susan Boob. She says, "Andrea 100%." Yeah, I would say to that. Also, she said this. I don't know why, but she reminds me of Yaxenia King. You mean Andrea? Mm, to me, Andrea looks more like Andre Andre Harris White. Andre Harris White. Good structure, good jawbones. A great look to her. And also, just from I picked Sarah hands down because she got money because she's married to a rich man. And also, this is from Rocky Hamilton said, "George, you got Obama. George, you got the Obama internet. LOA. Look on the internet. He's on the road, brother. He's on the road." And it says, and this is from Susan Lewis. Says, "I mean, with the beauty. Oh, so you're comparing Andrea to Yaxenia King. You can say also Yaxenia King is attractive, but I think she, in aspects of it, I think or somebody says he says with sexiness, yeah, I say and also Susan said this. She says, but going to women's bodybuilding is kind of a loss because seeing Andrea and Angela, yeah, and also she says this says, I mean Angela is beatable, but Andrea I don't know, and she says this. She says. Uh, Alicia also kind of quit the shows because of the places. Well, I think she said she might want to come back. Alicia Young, she might come back next year, is all depending. And also, this is from Susie says, I don't know how to explain ha 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 ha. Well, that's all right. So, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry about that.
Okay,
Technical difficulty.
I understand. It's because Raheem Hamilton is here. He's messing with your Wi-Fi. So, yeah, but yeah,
So
it's
what was the
just like,
question? What were they saying?
well, they're basically saying that Raheem said this. He says if he had to take anyone hands down, it would be Sarah over Andrea
Get the fuck out of here. Are you serious?
because
What is wrong
Sarah
with
got,
you? Well, yeah,
Sarah
yeah.
got that.
No offense and all. Sarah's husband got this.
So
So
that yeah,
Raheem, not unless you got a private plane that she can fly on, you can forget about it.
yeah, you know, and
Hey, Sarah
that's
ain't got
good.
no money. Her husband is called a sugar daddy.
Yeah.
Or
But like
a
I say,
sugar
he
or sugar husband. Sorry, no offense, Sarah. Sugar husband.
sugar, sugar husband, he has the money to spend, and she used it. And one thing, he uses the money. She uses it to promote her divisions. You remember when Arnold's going to push out Wins Bodybuilder from his show? She offered to put up $20,000. That's why I respect her a little more because you know what she did that. And I remember one person who saw it say, you know what, she shouldn't be doing that. But you got to think about it. Who expected to do it? You got to be somebody within the sport. You're not expecting no one from outsiders. You got to expect from people who are part of the sport, who understand it's tough for these ladies in the divisions.
Well, that's why
To
Andrea and who else did you say? The three girls that are promoting their own shows now because they understand.
Andrea, Sydney, and Whitney Jones.
again, they understand they got to create a platform for themselves and empower themselves as well. So more power to them. For doing that.
We got a comment from Raheem. Says this. He says, "See you, Keith." He says, "Keith, I got a private plane called TWA."
As long as you paying for the ticket, bro.
Yeah, but yeah,
TWA. When the last time you flew?
I've never flied in my life. I've been on a train. I've been on a
TWA is
bus.
an old airline. I'm like, when's the last time he's been on the plane?
When OJ used to make those commercials for Hertz, running through the. That's how old they are. But yeah, I think someone like Ashley, especially being young and being new, I think she because one thing I saw an interview a while back that she was doing an interview with the Female Body Channel. I said it was one thing that really encouraged her was Andrea saying that she has those muscle bellies and everything else, and I think she was at an interview she did with Danielle Willis a while back, and shout out to Danielle, and I think she heard that interview, and that really kind of got her to get into bodybuilding because I think it is the vision for her. Because like I said, she's only been a pro for maybe a little over 4 years. She earned a pro card in figure. Then she switched to physique, did pretty good the first 2 shows, and then did pretty good. She like last year she won Chicago, and then she took second in Texas. And then even though she didn't crack top 10, 11's pretty good. She's knocking at the door. And as we said again, a lot of these women who should consider going over instead of they fight they want because but this is one thing I think that would help maybe the division to grow if the promoters take a chance and you get these new younger brand new fresh blood competitors coming to women's bodybuilding and you got this new talent. I think you should try to display them a little bit more, but we all know it's a money thing. It's about what they can make money off of and who can make money off of.
I mean, and here's the thing. If I'm a women's physique competitor, and again, we'll go, let's say, because Ashley was 11th, and let's start from there, 11 through 6. And I'm one of these girls in this overflooded population of women's physique girls. What is the harm of even trying to go? I mean, because it's not one of those things where you're stuck in that division. Like Jada, she tried it, it didn't work out for her. She's like, it's not for me. Sue, Teresa, she went to Heather Gracie. These girls all it's like, well, let me go to women's physique or let me go to women's bodybuilder or vice versa. It didn't work for them. You find out where you fit it, get it. And remember that old saying, get in where you fit in. So it's one of those things where why not take the chance unless you still want to be a bottom feeder and be in the bottom of that women's physique class, because you're not fitting in with the common denominator of that top 5. Why not take the chance? What do you really have to lose as a women's physique competitor if I keep using the number 11, it should be 10, but if you 11 through 6, and maybe some of those, maybe 8 through 1 was closer than we thought. But it's called risk versus reward. At some point in time, sitting there saying, do I stay down here or and at the end of the day, as a competitor, you have to sit there and say, if you're a good competitor, this is what you do. It's just like Derek. It's just like Derek. It's just like Hade. Those 2 guys who are number 1 and 2 now in the world of bodybuilding were 212 guys, right? They understood that trying to make weight, trying to hold on to that size was hard. So what did they do? They basically said, I am going to open. And they went into open, and now they're the number 1 and 2 bodybuilders in the country. So what's the difference? The 212 in the open is like the women's physique and open bodybuilding, right? When you can say the same thing, So if you look at 212 guys who like a Hade Koopa or Derek, who are both champions in the 212, then Derek went over, and it's the first time in history where Derek has won the 212 and open because he understood that he cannot maintain that size or didn't want to stand to 212. So he went to open, and guess what? He went from making $50,000 to $400,000. So that's a big ass jump, right? So I use a simple concept as to women's physique and women's bodybuilding. The money not be the same, but as far as your placing and where you're at, why not? Why not give it a chance? because you're not stuck. And here's the thing in the IFBB, what people don't understand is you're not stuck in that division. We just said Maya was in women's physique and went to women's bodybuilding a week later and won women's bodybuilding. So why not do a 1 or 2 shows if that's what you're going to do for the year and see where you fall in women's bodybuilding? You might say, well, fuck, I'm doing way better here than I am in women's physique. I'm staying over here because sometimes it works out that way for some people.
Yeah, because one lady who I interviewed a while back, Tina Flex, she competed at the Romania Muscle Fest, and she took third compared to Lavinia Barros and Anastasia. She still looks like she's truly she's like bodybuilding, but I feel like she still maybe fall back to physique again. I don't know, maybe just my opinion of it. But then I've seen girls over the physique division who look like I did with my comparisons. Where I compared one girl she just made her name is Joe Kelly, just made her pro debut, and she competed in women's physique. And there's a lady who made her bodybuilding debut. Her name is Gemma Lancaster. I'm gonna pull up the video if I can find it. And sometimes it's just you can't really. So it's almost where you try to say, okay, you sure you're in the right division, or you really
George, we say it all the time.
Grow a little bit.
George, we say it all the time. It's that gray area, and some of these girls are just borderline. And you gave me an example of this was the Spain show when Chelsea won, and then you showed me the pictures of the girls who in women's physique, and they were standing next to Chelsea. I didn't know who was what division. If you wouldn't have told me that those 2 girls or 3 girls were women's physique competitors, I could have put them in women's bodybuilding and could have said they could have gave Chelsea a run for money. You know why? One of the biggest reasons is because of their conditioning. So people have to understand sometimes it's a size thing, but sometimes it's a condition thing. And as a judge, I'm looking for size, symmetry, and conditioning, right? When you like when you look at, when they say, when I was talking to John today about Samson Dahu from England, that dude is 6 foot, 300 pounds, but he has size, conditioning. He lacks back density, I guess they would say, but that's something you can work on, but still place in shows. He's won the Arnold again, with 3rd at the Olympia, and just won 2 more shows. And this offseason, I'm sure they're going to, what he knows is that he has to change the density and some size on his back, just like the guy who was in 4th place, Andrew. Unbelievable symmetry, unbelievable conditioning, unbelievable size, but lacks stuff on his back. Those are things that can be fixed. So these girls that are going into the 2024 season saying, am I that far off from women's bodybuilding? I know I have the conditioning. Angela was a prime example of a girl who put on, I want to say, I would guess 10 pounds of muscle from last year, because she was upset, from what I understand, from what I heard, that people didn't realize how much size she had put on from last year to this year. And guess what? She's still sitting in that 2nd spot. So there's a lot of girls that you have brought to this show, brought to my attention, that I'm looking at in women's physique, who have done shows, who are right there too, who can possibly give Angela and 2, 3, 4, and 5, and definitely 5, a run for their money in women's physique. And Ashley's gonna be one of those girls. I know that for sure. From what you show me, and she can come in the shape that she did in that 11th spot, she's gonna be one of those girls.
Yeah, because like I said, she does. Like I said, she has a good aesthetics, and I think one thing is like her height is the one thing, because she is a lot shorter. Seem like the shorter girls can really put on muscle. Nikhil's like kind of the odd out of it, because her physique is kind of. We've talked about how her physique's got she's big, broad shoulders,
runs together.
Yeah, and it kind of it just she's kind of going to be a gatekeeper, because she can't really go any farther than she needs to, or she can. But if like someone like who else I'm thinking about, Melissa Tyke, who we talked about before, and we mentioned, she was, she was doing pretty good. I think one show she did was Arizona, and I interviewed the lady who did Arizona with her. and she didn't like taking a second to the lady who won. And she took eighth, but I remember when
Balsamic.
yeah, I think she took sixth. The first time she did
Balsamic.
Olympia, and then dropped down to eighth. It's you just got to figure out where you go. I understand some people want to stay division because they feel like, okay, this is where I belong, this is where I want to be. But then you keep evolving and growing and growing. And if judges are telling you, even the judges are telling you, hey, go up, move up, go here. If they're telling you that, if you have ever heard people tell women say that I while back was a show, the Legion Sports Show, and this one lady who I follow, he is dropout. She One of the ladies who I follow, so that the lady who took third of that show, she said she had full of muscle. But the thing is, you don't want to have full of muscle in physique. You really want to be more conditioned. Because the girl who won that show, she just did. She made a debut in figure and switched over. Oh, we lost my brother here. I think he's on the road. We'll try to get back, but anyway, folks, I think Ashley has potential.
I'm here.
Yeah,
Sorry, I had this.
yeah,
I'm
that's all
in
right.
between
But
things.
but it's just that some girls, like again, they want to fight that they know that if they're evolving, growing, and developing, there's no point saying division that you're surpassing. That's why it's a good thing that women's body is still here, because when you hit your ceiling of physique, you got to go somewhere else. And the one thing
and
is,
and a changing of the guard is happening. I mean, I know we talk about Helena coming back, but Helena, is I think on her last leg is as far as a person in the sport, because people move on. She's getting older. Injuries. She's building up. It looks like she's building up a hell of a clientele base with the people that she's training that are doing well, and some of the girls, hell, that she will probably have to compete with against, or whatever case may be, if they still stay her clients. So from that standpoint, you're absolutely right, George. It's like these women have to understand everything evolutionizes, and everything evolutionizes with our bodies, and that's why when Tamer goes on the air and says the future of men's bodybuilding is Samson Dua, they understand what's coming. They understand that this dude's size, symmetry, conditioning is what the sport is. Because, I mean, let's be honest. Derek cannot put on any more size. Hadi cannot put any more size on without ruining their frame or their physique. So now their job is to maintain. And then you got to look at 2 and 3, 2 and 4. And we're forgetting about Nick, who didn't compete this year as well, but he doesn't. But Nick doesn't have the symmetry, and
he's
he
just
has the size, but he
freakish.
doesn't. Yeah, he just freakish. But when you look at Samson Dua and you look at that Andrew guy who was third and fourth, these guys' potential and some of these women's physique, and I would encourage them to say the same thing to you. You have so much more room to grow because of your bone density and size and your physique. Like Angela. Angela didn't get worse. She put on, let's say, 10 pounds. Let's just hypothetically say Angela put on 10 pounds last year. She didn't get worse. She got more competitive with Andrea a little bit, but Andrea is a big girl at 5'6", 165 pounds. That's a lot of mass and a lot of symmetry and a lot of muscle for a female, for somebody to compete with her against. But what people have to, these girls have to understand is you have room to grow. And if you're in an overflow in a category that's overflowing with girls, why not just try to take the chance? That's all I'm saying. I like the move by Ashley. Ashley is smart because, and here's the thing, a champion is always going to welcome, competition. I mean, when you said, I think and maybe I'm quoting you wrong, Ashley said that Andrea said that she would fit in good in women's bodybuilding. I don't think Andrea is worried about anybody. I think Andrea is not worried about anybody and her position in women's bodybuilding, because I think her and John have a solid plan. She has this tiny ass waist. The only thing that can happen to Andrea is that her legs are ginormous. Her shoulders are crazy. Dennis James, this is a quote from Dennis James, one of the legendary bodybuilders. Andrea Shaw has a better back than most men bodybuilders. That's crazy. So when you take all these things that Andrea puts together, and mind you, this is a girl who's only doing 2 shows a year. You have to understand that there's room for that second, third, fourth, fifth spot, all the way to 10. That's wide open. Because as we said, and that's not being arrogant or not being fanboys of Andrea Shaw, there's Andrea Shaw and everybody else. And these girls are going to have to figure out how to get into that top 5. Because that top 5, you know, is really wide. I mean, that top 4 is really wide open for girls to slide in and out of there if the right girls come along. Because we can't sit there and say those top 4 girls after Andrea, maybe Angela, so let's say 3 is solid 3rd, 4th, and 5th places. I think, you know, they're moving pieces of a puzzle that anybody can go jump in and out of there, because, you know, it was the fortunate thing, the unfortunate thing this year that was only not 10 girls in the show. So it left the category wide open. But you put 20 girls in the show, and that leaves, you know, leaves a little bit more competitive nature, because now you're dealing with a few different physiques. But again, in order to do that, you're either going to have to go back to the point system or do something to get more bodies on stage.
Yeah, that's the part. It's said again. Promoters don't want to put money behind women's bodybuilding because they feel like it's supposed to be a bygone. But the fact is, what are you going to do with women physique who are getting too big for women's bodybuilding? And if you look at someone even like Natalia Coelho, who looks like she's getting a lot larger, she has that goes great aesthetics for probably women's bodybuilding, but she's not going to go because of the fact that she's always use excuse that, hey, I do, as long as I can come second to win the Miss Olympia or come second, I'm going to stay here where I'm at. But she could possibly, if she switched, she could possibly maybe even take second to Andrea.
But I think she probably holds on to that notion that how long is Sarah going to do it? Can she? And here's the thing: she was a champion last year. She lost it. You know, so in her mind, she may think she can possibly get her title back. So I get it. I can get it. You know, you go another run at it to see if you can get your title back, because it's happened. It happens in men's physique. I mean, it's happened in men's bodybuilding. You know, how they lost to Derek. So it happens, you know. So I think in her mind, she's sitting there saying, I think I can still beat her. So I may stay in this class one more year. And that's different from somebody like Ashley, who has all this muscle mass and all this size and conditioning to be 11th, which is crazy, at the Olympia, who sit there and say, hell, maybe if I go over to women's bodybuilding, I could be top 5 or, you know, in the top 5, you know, or top 4 after Andrea, of course, and the top 4, which I believe that she possibly could based off of what I've seen this year.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just about where they want to fit in. Let's talk about this. Is another lady who I follow. She might be. This is the lady who just won the Romania Muscle Fest, and that's Lavinia Barros. And Lavinia is, she might be a possible candidate, for maybe depending how her condition coming. Because I remember when she won her qualification last year. She kind of just, I think she got a little soft, but she took the year off. She didn't compete till the mom would say she didn't compete till the end of the year when she did the show Romania. And this is like about 2 weeks ago when she did Romania. This, and people, I know a lot of people saying, oh, could she, take the title from Andrea? And she's young too, because I think she's just 26. And she has a great physique. We talked about it before.
No. That's just a no. And I'm not trying to be a fucking fanboy. It's just a no. If I wish I wish I could pull up a picture of Andrea this year at the Olympia. You got to look at Andrea's delts. You got to look at her quads. You got to look how much the flow of her physique. This girl, the one thing I would look right away at this girl and say, George, is that her waistline, just like Ashley, these girls' waistline. I mean, I told you, and Andrea during off season wears a size medium squeen. during her prep for the Olympia, it was an extra small. Do you know how small that your waistline has to be to get into one of those fucking things? It's nuts. So when we're talking about looking at people like this, the first thing that they have to change in order to be Andrea is the flow and symmetry of their body. Me and my coach, John Simmons, just talk about this. And not about Andrea, not about these girls, but the flow and this flow and symmetry of an athlete's body. That's what people don't understand. Andrea has this body that the whole aspect of her symmetry just flows better than any other girl on stage. And that's just a fact. If you pull up a picture of her, and I know you can, of her at the Olympia, and you look at that girl that you just pulled up, and you look at a picture of Andrea straight on in any of her fucking poses, and just look at her waistline to her quad sweep to her deltoids, how do you compare that? You can't.
No,
You just
I
can't.
got something here. I posted on my YouTube channel. It's a little clip. It's I am a Andrea Shaw fanboy, and it's just from her backstage prepping. You know, you order your ladies down and get you ready, and here it's about to put up, and you look at her. I mean, wow. I mean,
And
look
she
at
ain't even
her.
flexing. And she ain't
No,
even flexing.
I mean,
And
she
it's
she's
deceiving because when she starts posing, it's even crazier.
yeah. You take a look at the angle right now. You see how small her waist is from the angle.
Yeah.
Look at her shoulders, her
And what's the
details.
first thing the first thing you got to look at in the world in which, if people don't understand it, and some people do, waist to lat ratio, meaning when she hits those back poses and she hits those semi-relaxed poses and she hits all her poses, her waist disappears. It's like Sydney. When you look at Sydney, what's the first thing you see with Sydney? You see, I call it the blacknetics, the small, tiny ass waistline. It's hard to beat that when a girl is in superior condition with a tiny waistline and everything else is flowing. Look at Sydney as a prime example of that too. Crazy ass delts, tiny waistline, unbelievable quads, unbelievable black, and her presentation is like no other. Guess who's her coach? Andrea Shaw. Gilman is Andrea Shaw's coach. That's why when you look at Gilman's posing on stage and you look at Andrea's, it's just pretty to look at because they have these beautiful bodies and the body just flows from top to bottom.
We got something here right here. This is from Raheem Hamilton. He says you guys keep fanboy up every time I come in here in the show. LOL. Yeah, because we're fans. This is what we talk about because we're fans. Keith, for God's sake, you are a fanboy. Well, you know what, Raheem, since you're not doing
Raheem,
nothing
I'm
but
not a
iron your
fanboy.
clothes.
No offense to Raheem, I'm not a fanboy. I'm IFBB pro and a judge. I judge shows. I'm a head judge for Kim Krzyzewski and Chad Nichols. So no offense at all. And a 14-year IFBB pro who's getting ready for his season this year. So I'm not a fanboy. I'm trying to kick knowledge to you people because if I was a fanboy, I would be somebody like you who like tits. But I'm a guy who has been a 14-year pro who's about to compete this year in 2024 and has been a judge for 10 years. And I know you fucking around, but I'm just being honest with you. I'll see Andrea tomorrow. I'll let her know that I'm a fan. I'll see her tomorrow because her and Tina are working out. I'll let her know that I'm a fanboy. But at the end of the day, I'm just speaking facts, bro. I'm just speaking facts. Just like you have educated me on how to help women promote this sport, which was very knowledgeable information. I'm trying to get you knowledgeable information on trying to get women into this sport from women's physique, and also telling these women that get out of the class that they don't belong in anymore and get into another class where they can be a little bit more competitive and possibly give Andrew a run for money. And here's the thing, Raheem, And here's one thing I learned from Tyler Mannion the other day when he was making a comparison, which you probably won't understand this. When everybody was pissing and moaning about Hade Koopa losing to Derek Langford, here's what Tyler Mannion said. Tyler Mannion's words were, everybody thinks that, that you have to knock out the champ in order to beat the champ. No, that's not. He says that is not the case. What you have to do is come in better that day to knock out the champ, because nothing's guaranteed. So all I'm saying is, over the last 4 years, there has not been a girl that has pushed Andrea to the limits to knock her out. And that's all I'm saying. That's a fact, because anybody can get beat in any sport. I beat Carl Lewis in 1996 to win my first world championship, and he's a 9-time gold medalist. Anybody can get beat. The new football, basketball, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to tell you is, when you look at competitors, and I said this to John today, everybody looks good by themselves until you stand them next to the person they have to beat. And that's just a fact. So we looking at the girl you just pulled up. We're looking at the girl from Romania, We're looking at Ashley. Until they get next to, and even when I seen Angela, who's an unbelievable competitor and has unbelievable physique, but when she stood next to Andrea, she was so much smaller than Andrea. And that's just a fact. I was there. It's not like I'm looking at pictures, Raheem. I'm sitting in the second row looking at this shit saying, that is just ridiculous. How much bigger she is with her symmetry, her flow, her presentation, everything else that she got going on for, it's just ridiculous. And my hats have to go off, not because I'm a fanboy, just because that's just facts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then people got to understand that, because you learn from your experience for years of competing, judging. I mean,
Yep.
also, Raheem, if you got an issue, brother, I got the link in there. You can come in and you can debate.
Quit ironing your clothes, bro. Quit ironing your clothes.
Yeah, put on your big boys' clothes. Jump on with the big boys here. But I think one thing we keep talking about is that we know, with so few opportunities for shows and qualification, and now, as you know, the Olympics going back to Vegas again. I think I hear some people. I don't think some people like it too much, but I think they're moving it up to October because the weather's a little better by then. Because it's about, I think October's still a little bit warmer. I think what's also going to affect some shows that usually it's Olympic qualification in October. That means that I think it's like cutting down the numbers for this year's Olympia a little bit.
Well, I mean, I don't even, because me and John are talking to, has the 2024 season schedule even come out yet?
Well, not some schedules for, like, Gary Udall posted a schedule for his shows. I saw Jack Tony put a schedule for his shows, because I sent to some of the ladies because they want to pick a show that they want to do. But hadn't seen anything from Tim Gardner or any others. So and I think we still got maybe a couple more shows left.
Well, yeah, because the only reason why I asked that question is because John told Tina today that he's waiting till the 2024 season schedule comes out before they decide what she possibly is going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she would love to do Omaha, because she missed out the last. I think she would have did pretty good at Omaha last year. Even though there's only 2 ladies at that time. But
is Omaha is Omaha going to be on the list? Is it no? It's Omaha. No. She just. So yeah. And unfortunately, it's like, what was Toronto had 2 people in, who it was a couple of shows that had only like 2 girls in the show this year, and this shitty thing is just like, we just picked the wrong shows. And
hey Keith, we got somebody. We called him. He called out of thunder, and here he is. We are here, Raheem Hamilton.
So Keith, I heard you said that I don't know what I was talking about and everything. I know what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about then? Tell me.
You know what I'm saying? What am I talking about? I'm just talking about it's just good old nice conversation, I get it, you knowledgeable of being a judge and everything, and you've done this before, and I give you I tip my hat off to you. You're right. I'm wrong about everything.
No, and I'm not saying you're wrong. Here's the thing, Raheem. My wife is sitting right next to me, and she's IFBB pro, and
Hmm.
she will sit here and tell you the exact same thing I'm telling you. She's going to train with Andrea tomorrow. Actually, they got 2 training sessions tomorrow. She
Cool.
understands. She understands the realm of where she's at and where Andrea and everybody else is at.
Then nobody will beat Andrea ever. And I'm on the stage with her, so you can argue that day with me all day long. But
Uh-oh.
sorry
Uh-oh.
for
I
you.
think I will.
You're wrong. You
I
are
think I
wrong.
will.
She will never.
Raheem, she broke you the last time, Raheem. We asked about the pose suit thing. She's breaking you again, brother. So you better just calm down,
No,
son.
no,
Calm
no.
down.
I just
And
no,
guess
no. It
what?
wasn't
But you know
the
what?
academic.
You can't see him.
You know what the
Let-
difference
let-
is
let-
between
let me
me
talk.
and the difference between me and every other bodybuilder in this world is I could admit the fucking truth. No offense and all. I understand that there's Andrea and there's us. But I'm woman enough to do that. These other girls aren't, and that's fine. They can think what they want to think. At the end of the day, mark my words, and I'm on stage with her at the World Championships. I am on stage with her. I am not a spectator, and I work my ass off too, but I ain't never gonna beat her. But I'm okay with that. I need to come in at my best and try to make the top 5, and that is my goal. So I don't know who you think's gonna beat her, but you high as a kite, and it ain't never gonna happen. And that's facts are facts. And you can't argue with a bitch that stands on stage
Well,
with her.
well, I got.
That's
I'm
all I'm
going. I'm
saying.
going to
So you
say
can
this.
do
I'm going
your
to say
beat
this
your
to Miss.
meat. It's good.
I want to say this to
Let's
Miss
finish,
Williams.
Go
I
ahead,
want to
Raheem.
say
See
this.
what you about
I
to
want to
say.
say this to Miss Williams. You're right about one thing, if they get out their feelings, then it can happen.
They're
If
not,
she
but it
didn't,
doesn't matter if they in their feelings
Here's
or
the
not.
hold on.
She's never
I'm
gonna
not
be able to
finished.
beat
I'm
her.
not finished. Hold on. Let me
Let him
finish.
finish. Let him finish.
Right.
Let him dig his hole. Let's dig hole.
No, I'm not digging my hole. I'm just agreeing.
He's
If
already
they
did
don't
that.
allow her, if they don't allow her to rent space in their heads all the time, you're absolutely right. You just gotta figure out what your next regimen is and what your next game plan is. If you don't
To
focus
be
on
second
her,
best. To
you're
be
right.
second best.
But,
No, it
but
ain't never gonna
like
happen.
Sean Carvey says, losers do their best.
Well, all of
That's
us
for
will
the
do.
Rock.
here's
Let's
the
not
thing.
keep his cage, okay?
Here's the
You
thing,
gotta,
Raheem.
you just gotta. What I'm trying to say is, when you compete, you just don't have the champion in your head all the time. You focus on yourself. That's it.
Well, the same thing. This is the thing about. Remember with
Be realistic.
Sarah, like with Sarah and Natalia and stuff they were going through. They back and forth. Like Sarah was accusing Natalia of creating different type of social media platforms to harass her, but she went out there and she beat her. And
Oh, she
now.
beat her because she got. We all know why she beat her. She beat her because money. Money
Well,
talks.
it could be factors also.
You put a good judge. You put money in the judge's pocket these days. I'm just kidding.
But this is something I
Hey,
go back to.
Raheem, I will not disagree with you there. Let's just say that.
I'm just kidding. No, don't. I'm not taking
Yeah,
it
No,
personal.
you don't be kidding.
but
I've
don't be
heard that
kidding.
from
Just be,
some of the top. One of my trainers, no offense and all, shit happens. I'm gonna leave it at that. But so don't, I mean, there was a girl. It was a girl that you were a fan of who placed 5th. But I ain't gonna go there.
Honestly, I'm not really a fan. I'm just I don't have like a particular fan. I don't have a particular fan.
well, too bad Kale's not here because I know he's a fan. But yeah, because this happened before. If you remember back in 2005, they told Iris to come in softer, but then she loses to Xenia King, who came in shredded and harder. Then she bounces back, and she goes on 9 straight wins. And it's always a debate. Alina Popa should have won the last Miss Olympia back in 2014, but the judges, even hey, you can say yeah, they do this, do that. Iris wasn't doing. She didn't really do much for bodybuilding because she said a lot of people said she wasn't doing enough, but she was competing because she wanted to compete. Sometimes it's often you get a one pump champ, and that was Natalia. She had opportunity, she lost it. And I think the judges felt like she was going to the direction was going away from women's physique. I think with Sarah, She had more the look they wanted, streamlined look. I thought Brooke should have went a little bit higher. She should have got maybe second or third, but it's always some issue. I've seen some girls who should have placed a little higher compared to others, like the one girl from Brazil. She actually who took third. She competed last year when it was bodybuilding. She took third at the Romanian Muscle Fest. And I remember, this is Tina's old coach, Anita Popa, said that she had those muscle bellies. That was back when she competed in Puerto Rico about 2 years ago. And she jumped over to bodybuilding, did pretty good, and then she went back to physique. She could, if she wanted to, stick in bodybuilding and probably do well because she's very attractive. She has a great physique. She has a great look to her. You look at also at Alcione, who took third this year. She didn't do too well last year because of the fact that she was doing at least 4 shows. She did a show in Brazil, she did Portugal, she did Romania, and she did the Europa show. Then she comes to do Olympia. She really didn't come in this condition she could have. But then she won a qualification at Portugal, sat out for the rest of didn't do any more shows after that. And then she comes in, and what she did was also, I think she went to Orlando a week ahead to give her time to, because she lives in Brazil, give her time for her body to adjust to get comfortable and get more acclimated to the time zones and like that. And she took third. There's a lot of people thinking that, it's going to be your girl, but your girl took fifth behind Sherry, who last year was leading in points, but she had to take a step back because one of the kids got sick. Me and Sherry been talking. She right now, Sherry, she really loves the opportunity to compete, but I think she said she wants to be working with Roller more. She said she wished she'd done a show in Romania. She would love to do a show in Romania, but she feel like it probably will get a qualification. Right here we have your KLA, who just popped in last minute.
Hey,
Hey,
so
hey, what's
But
up, KL?
it's just like Tina said. Angela last year worked her ass off to put on the exercise that she needed to be a little bit more competitive with Andrea.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like, she's still we said this, she's still a bit on the smaller side.
But she's gonna blow her waistline out.
But if she gets any bigger, she's gonna blow her waistline out. That's the problem.
Yeah, because she used to do a lot of powerlifting. I don't think she do too much of it anymore.
She can build it.
I mean, that's is exactly what we were talking about earlier, George, when we were talking about Hade Koopa and Derek Langford. Those guys can't put any more size on, because if they do, they're going to continue to worsen their body versus bettering their body and staying where they are. Like Sean Carita. Sean Carita, who lost his 212 championship. You know why Sean lost his 212 championship? Because he tried to put on more size, blew out his waist. Keon came in with that tiny waist, like an Andrea Shaw, and that V-taper, and he lost his title. Am I right? If you look at Keon, and you look, and that was all waistline and symmetry. That's what people have to understand about this sport. Me and our coach was just talking to us about it. Baseline of anything in bodybuilding is symmetry.
Mm-hmm.
And if you mess up your symmetry, you mess up your lines, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And
physique is supposed to be supposed to be about symmetry and condition.
Exactly.
And then the women in that division are getting a lot larger, bigger. If we talk about Ann Moon again, Moon John, she's not competing this year because she took a step back. I think she might be switching over. I think if you also look at, this is another who switched from physique to bodybuilding, Julia Wetzel. I was supposed to do an interview with her, but what happened in my situation, I got sick, I got missed, but I hope we can get back together with her and talk to her. But when you start seeing your body's changing, and Julia is tall too, because I know Tina, you were there with her. She was Julia wasn't at the World Championship. No, she wasn't. But yeah, but it's like these taller girls who are coming in now. You have the girls who are a little taller because of the fact that they're too big for physique, and you have the girls who maybe have just big period for the division. You got to find something that works, with their aesthetics.
And I think part of this,
your motherfucking blinker on, you dumbass.
Say,
so my wife's driving.
Who's the boss?
Sorry.
But you know, part of
That's
the issue is some of these girls, like Julia, come over to women's physique, women's bodybuilding, and I don't necessarily know it's the right move for them right away. It's just like, you know, I think, and again, here's the mindset of some of these girls. They're peeking over the women's bodybuilding, and they're like, these girls are not as conditioned as we are, so maybe I could slide in there and make a little noise. And clearly, you remember Julia beat Teresa to get to the Olympia. And who was better conditioned? And Julia was better conditioned than Teresa.
Teresa's prettier physique.
But Teresa has a prettier physique. But because of the condition, that's why we were saying earlier, George, in this conversation, some of these girls could slide over to women's bodybuilding and do better than they would in physique because of their conditioning, and you don't have a overflow of girls in a certain particular category, such as women's physique.
Yeah, because like I said, we just had a show a while back. The show in Atlanta, I think Atlanta show. There was the Atlanta Coach show, where had at least about maybe nearly 20 women in that show. But it was just show. We only had the two divisions: men's physique, and they had women's physique. I think that could have been a show, especially Tim Gardner, that could have added women's bodybuilding. And and that's one thing is it's just opportunity for competitors to compete at a show, and you get the numbers, better numbers if you can get more people to recognize that you got competitors who are maybe too big for the division, who need to go ahead and move up, but they're still afraid of moving up for whatever reason, other than they just don't want to go the extra mile.
And again, the thing that's shitty is that like you just said, the show in Caribbean, you have so many women's physique, men's physique, and all these fucking shows. It's like, I don't see how, if I'm somebody I'm like, I don't know, maybe Jermaine is saying, we got to start dropping women's bodybuilding to some of these shows in order to keep this, to pump life into this category. But they're not doing that.
But what's the amount they going to the Olympias? You gotta look at the numbers. It's all about the numbers. How many people go to the Olympias for the female bodybuilding? If it's not a lot, then you just have to do what you have to do what you have. And
well, here's the problem, Raheem. Is like we truly don't know, and we'll never know what that number is because the tickets they don't ask everybody, and the tickets are sold under one umbrella.
But how many people in the audience?
There's a lot compared to. Here's the thing, and me and John were talking about this today. So the men's paycheck for the Olympia is $400,000. $400,000.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get on stage till 10:30 at night. When they got on stage, half of those guys look like shit because usually those guys are in bed by that time. But guess what? They made it a priority to put women's bodybuilding, men's physique, classic physique, and all those people got to compete at an ideal time. So if men's bodybuilding is that important and the bag is that much bigger than everybody else's, why aren't they the priority?
Good question.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're sitting there saying, like, there's like Tampa Pro for a prime example, there's sessions. So you can go in for like women's bikini, masters, figure, blah, 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 blah. Then you pay another ticket for another session, depending on what you want to see. That is the problem, is that we don't know who's coming to see what. In a prime example, I think I told you guys a long time ago, when I did the Chicago Pro one year, it was me, Rolly Winkler, and it was a big show. We didn't go on stage till almost midnight. By the time we got on stage, how many people were in the audience?
Me and 3 other people.
My wife and 3 other people were in the audience. That's it. For men's. So how many people really stayed for? 3 people stayed for men's bodybuilding. Seriously. And I know it's not the Olympia, but again, there's other classes like women's bikini, women's figure, classic physique that these people are paying for. So that's just the whole fallacy of things is, do we really know what the Gen Pop wants to really see? We don't know. That's the frustrating thing.
Yeah, and just like I said, for a good while, and I've always said it's about men's bodybuilding division. It's the bottom bitch. It's the one that always been bringing money. But I think it was surprising how they had it, what they did to it last month, having it last after all the other divisions at the Olympia. Usually, it's during its own time. It would be like, okay, they have it the next that Sunday, no, that Saturday. Was it that Saturday or Sunday? They have the men's with the other divisions, but because I think they always would say with excuses because there's so many more competitors in men's classic, men's physique, bikini, and wellness because they're fast turnover shows. They can, get the competitors within the next day. But with physique, men's 212, also women's bodybuilding, it takes a lot more time to get ready. And those shows, because they're easy to slap together, that is punishing all the other divisions.
Interesting.
So,
KL. Yeah.
KL,
Yes,
you be
what's
quiet.
up?
Yeah, what's up? We got something? to say?
Nah, not really. I'm just listening to y'all. You know when I got
Raheem,
something to
the
say.
IFBB needs to hire you.
Yeah, they probably won't, but it'd be
You need
great.
to hire
Like I
me?
said,
I'm
especially.
flattered.
Was it Raheem?
Oh, he said the IFBB need to hire me. I'll be flattered. I'll take the
Yeah,
job.
they said they need to hire George, but again, it's one of those things where you got a guy who's knowledgeable as George, who understands it and has a finger on women's bodybuilding.
Yeah, he's got a finger on him, all right.
But again, it's such a fucking clicky situation, that it's like, and like I told George earlier, right? I mean, I don't know if you heard, me say, I said, if I'm Jake Woods, and my main purpose and goal at the time was to pump life back into women's bodybuilding, but now the life that I pumped in it is now deflating. Why aren't you doing something about it?
On the sponsor.
And Tina think it's on the sponsors.
Yeah, it's not on here.
But he was the biggest sponsor they had. It's like when Adrian Peterson beat his fucking kid when he played for the Vikings. The biggest sponsors that the Vikings had at the time in the NFL was Budweiser, and they pulled their sponsorship. Guess what? They figured that shit out to get that sponsorship back because the NFL needs that money.
Who's the sponsorship for Jake Woods?
Jake Woods is a sponsorship for Jake Woods.
But
He's the one who put the money.
These shows on are the ones that should be fucking representing women's bodybuilding, not Jake.
Well, if there's no money back on return for the wing of stink, and he's more on the red than in the black, then you can't really fault him for what's going on.
Well, and I think part of that we keep saying sponsorship. I think the biggest aspect of this, what people don't understand, is there's sanction fees to all these shows. Mm-hmm. So if we really want to nail down who's the responsible for, or who should be responsible for making this happen, it should be the IFBB. Because when you put on a show, like Chad Nichols will tell you, the first year he did Muscle Mayhem in Kansas, he had bikini. The second time he did it, he had men's bodybuilding. Well, when you get and then he had a second year, but lies the problem. The money that he was making from the amateurs, he's having to put back into the pros because there's sanction fees to have. If you want open men's bodybuilding, I don't know what the number is, but the IFBB charges you per class that you have for a pro show. It's a sanction fee.
Got you.
It charges you?
So if we're really going to talk about who should be the person that sitting there looking at the promoter says, hey, well, if you want to bring women's bodybuilding, the IFBB that is, if you want to bring women's bodybuilding to your show, if the sanction fee is $2,500, we'll charge you $1,000.
Why is there even a sanction fee?
But again, like Tina said, why is there a sanction fee? Because
you gotta pay the
guess
big
what?
boss. You gotta pay the big boss.
They
Jim
gotta make
Murray.
money.
You gotta have experience. You gotta make money. Like Kyrie told me how like Gary Judith at his shows, you can't pay with a card. You gotta
Nope.
always have cash.
Cash.
And most people don't. I just barely carry cash because I get my check every month, and if I get cash from when my roommates pay their cut
Well, I
of
mean, and think
the
about
bills,
it.
something like that.
You can. We have season tickets for the Chiefs. We can't go to the stadium and use our cash for shit. You have to have a credit card. So how many sporting events? A KU game. I have season tickets for the Kansas women's basketball team. I can't go to any major sporting event and use cash. But you can't in bodybuilding. Only certain promoters, like a person that we just mentioned, takes cash. Everybody else, you have to use a credit card. Jack Tatone in the St. Louis area, he has an ATM machine set up outside the venue. You can't pay with a credit card. You got to go to the ATM machine, put your credit card in there, get some cash out, and pay cash.
Well, you
Come
know,
on.
like they said, the NFL stand for not for a long time, but it should be for bodybuilding as well. See, the problem is this: you have to get in and get out with this pro body. You shouldn't really be in it forever. If there's so many problems like that, you should just say, okay, you know what? Let me get in, get out. Use this as a stepping stone to wherever I want to go, as an entertainment business wise or whatever. It's just staying in longer is not really helping, So you should just use bodybuilding as a stepping stone to wherever you want to go in your career, because it's
Well,
not really forever.
Well, no, and I understand that because there's some people who have Kai Green. I would say Kai Green and Dana Lynn Bailey are the two prime examples. And Kai Green said this to me, and my wife in there with C.T. Fletcher and Dennis James. We're all at a C.T. Fletcher grand event. He said, "Use the sport for what you can get out of the sport, not what the sport can get out of you." And
Arnold said the same thing, but I know people don't like him, but Arnold said the same thing.
Well,
It's
because Kai realized that he placed second at this last 2 or 3 Olympias. He was second, and he knew that they were not going to let him beat Phil. So he left, and now Kai Green's net worth is way more than he would ever made in bodybuilding.
but Keith, didn't Kai invest the money that he won for these shows?
He invested his money in his supplement line. He left Muscle Med and started his own supplement line. I'm wearing his shoes on my feet right now. So he ended up, there's people who have made it. Ronnie Coleman, people think he's dumb as rocks, but Ronnie Coleman is worth millions because his supplement line is more popular overseas than it is here in the United States. So yes, some guys, but again, you're talking about a small percentage of bodybuilders that are actually making money in the sport.
What I said is no matter where in life, utilize the sport. What if you want to be a manager, a teacher, whatever, whatever you feel like you can make money, because as you said, at the end of the day, there's really not a lot of money to be made. I mean, you travel, you get a $2,000 here, you get a $3,000 here, $4,000 here. That does add up, So maybe you can utilize that to invest in a business or do what you got to do.
Raheem, but what you don't understand in Jada, if you were listening to, like, I think she made $1,000 for her last show, right?
Which sucks. I get that.
But guess what? It cost her 3 times that amount to fucking compete in a show. That's what people don't understand. It's an old wise saying in our sport. This is a poor man's sport. People do it, because the hopes and wishes of being one of those top people. It's like me playing in the NFL. There's only so many people who are going to make it to the NFL. There's only so many people going to make it to the NBA. There's only so many people going to make it to MLB. Bodybuilding is no different. Those sports is just way less money.
Yeah, that's
Are you
part of
still
sport. Some
competing,
ladies,
Keith?
he's
I was
getting ready.
asking, was he still competing? Oh, okay.
No. So, that's why, Dana Lynn Bailey understood that she wasn't going to win a magnitude of, titles, but she understood her popularity within the sport. I mean, fuck, when you go to Arnold, she has her booth was so populated, they had to move her to a different part of the venue because there was hundreds of people lined up just to see her. Kai Green the same way. So eventually, you got to think in your mind, saying, how much longer do I want to do this sport? And at the end of the day, that's the conversation that George had 2 weeks ago when we were talking about how to get younger athletes into the sport of women's bodybuilding. Well, some don't want to work as hard, and some understand the.
I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why we don't have a whole lot of people in women's bodybuilding is because it's hard as fuck, and people don't want to work that hard, period. It is what it is. It's facts. So
I want to throw another thing that is because it's about the money. It's all about the love of the money. Like if you're not having no incentives, like I explained to you, George, before, baseball and basketball, it's a kid's sport. Let's just keep it 100. It's a kid's sport.
Yep.
But the only reason why grown men are playing it is because they're getting paid. It's getting paid. So the reason why it's hard to recruit younger women or younger men into bodybuilding is there's no incentives. If you're saying that you got to pay this, pay that. Now, don't get me wrong. I love working out. I hit the gym every day, but I'm not in that aspiration of becoming a pro bodybuilder because I already know what you have to do to get in. You have to pay. You have to do this. I'm like, if I'm a pro, why do I have to keep? If I get the pro card, why do I have to keep paying? Why do I have to, if you're not paying for my airfare, hotel fee, and I have to do all that just to go to Olympia, it doesn't make sense. So this is why you have people in their 40s and older still doing these shows, And like I said, I'll be honest, if I was with Shaw, wins, I would have leave on top.
And you got to realize, Raheem, it's just like my wife just said too. Women don't have very many opportunities to be a professional athlete.
We don't have all the avenues y'all do. So.
They don't have all the avenues that we as men have. So that's why they do it, which makes sense, So,
I also have a job that I can afford to be a professional bodybuilder. So I know that I'm not going to get anything out of bodybuilding, but I make a shit ton of money with what I do. And I know that my avenue with bodybuilding is never going to make me money, whether I'm a top athlete or not. So it's like saying you have things that you like to do or spend your money on. Some people like to go to the bar and drink every day. Okay, well, if you would rather go to the gym and be a pro athlete and save your money and utilize your money for travel fees and such, I'll guarantee you I spend less money than they do sitting at a bar drinking up their money every day. I can give you 100 people that used to be weight loss patients, and I could tell you thousands of dollars they waste every fucking month on shit they don't need. I choose to spend it on women's bodybuilding because it was my avenue of being a pro athlete. It keeps me healthy, it keeps my mind going, and it challenges me every day. But I can afford it. Maybe they should give up other shit in their life if they want to be a pro athlete, and they know they're going to have to pay for it. That's why I work. So, I mean, that's kind of the mentality I have. So, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, it's a tough sport, and it's a lot of putting a lot of time and work into it. And it's family ladies. I wish really like you, Tina, and all your ladies can really make some real money out of it. You'll have to do as I like to say the Beat the Meat website. That's what they are. But guys like OnlyFans.
To be honest, that's not really the only.
Hey, George. Tina says she just sells more dirty socks.
So I'm saying that's not the end all be all, with there's other venues and avenues it's just getting yourself out there in the media, because you gotta remember Michael Jordan, when he was the man, he wasn't the highest NBA player. All his money was coming from endorsements. You just gotta get out there, be that charismatic person, and see what businesses will take you up. Hey, you never know. You might get a female bodybuilder can sponsor McDonald's. They might be like, hey, you got a great look and we love your personality.
That's the thing is, Raheem, most companies like that would not use women like that because they don't fit the idea of what society like to see. It'd be great if if like
But
companies like
you
okay,
gotta.
let me finish. It'd be great if companies like okay, Pepsi they own Propel and Gatorade.
I got to be.
It'd be great if they can advertise with the IFBB. Look at the other supplement companies and mainstream companies that can come in and bring money to bodybuilding that would help. But because it doesn't fit what they can sell to the to the layman's, everyday people, it doesn't. It doesn't. If it doesn't make money from them, they're not going to do it. Like if you look at, at the content of MMA, they have UFC has contracts with Bud Light, Mickey. They have contracts with several other companies because even though it's still kind of a fringe sport, it's popular. We got here. This is from Money J 2023. Ashley is someone who can potentially challenge Andrea. I see the potential.
I do got a
Like Ashley,
question. Like,
go ahead.
no, I would take to piggyback to what you guys were saying about sponsorship. What about like weight equipment and stuff like that?
Those, yeah,
They could use bodybuilders or something like that. Or
well,
I remember back in the day, like they would like use like Linda Murray on like some like weight gainers or not weight gainers, but like to build muscle, like those formulas and stuff to build muscle, even weight gainers and stuff like that. I don't know. Like,
well, the thing is, most of those companies rather use someone like a really pretty model who has probably never worked out in a day in her life because they can use her to sell that product because of her face. They use the men because the men they do use the product, but when they use women, they don't use women who actually use the product. Use models. Somebody. They might occasionally might have some models do work out, but generally use the type of women that can that people guys would like anything. Like we watch especially watch football or you watch any kind of sport. When they have certain commercials. They have commercials with pretty girls in bikinis walking down the beach. You're not
But
going to
wait a
see
minute,
Andrea
George.
Shaw in the bikini.
But George, wait a minute. Didn't y'all just rep and raving from Andre Shaw? It's more feminine, all this stuff. So
Yeah, she
now,
is. But he's again. I said again.
see,
She's
so you
not what
contradict yourself.
I said. We know she's feminine. We know, but she's not feminine what society likes. She's not
How do
what
you know?
they
How do
think
you
that
know
women
yeah,
that?
like.
society ain't
How do
gonna
you
like
know
that.
that?
Because that's how society is. This is how
I mean,
society women like.
but we'll say, okay, we'll say she's from Michigan, Detroit, right? So
Yeah.
if she's from that, big city, well, it's not the biggest city, but it's the big city of Detroit. There's so much stuff, she could be like a spokesperson for a local hamburger shop, car wash, stuff like that, because if she's four-time Miss
But the thing
Olympia,
is, that's the thing.
you want her hometown to
Well, guess what? Hold
celebrate.
on. Stop the
That's the
press.
press.
I can tell you right now, and I know this because
I press.
I'm here in Detroit. Andrea Shaw has just got sponsored by a cereal company out of Canada.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
So
So she got paid.
you
Canada?
gotta understand.
What kind of
You gotta
cereal?
understand. Huh? I
Doesn't
don't know.
matter. It doesn't matter. It don't have
It
to
doesn't
be.
matter.
But
She
It's
just got
rice. It's
back.
kind of rice cereal. It's kind of rice blend.
that's
Is
what
that
but
what
that's
John
what
said
you
to
got to
me?
do.
Andrea just got sponsored by a cereal
I
company.
don't know.
Yeah. So she just got sponsored by a cereal company. So, what people have to understand about women's bodybuilding and bodybuilding in general, in Europe and other countries, they're willing to pay. That's why, it's Canada, for Christ's sake. She's a cereal company from Canada. She lives in goddamn Detroit. We're here right now in Detroit.
Canada and Detroit is not that far from each other. It's like there's a bridge that goes from Detroit to Ottawa, right across the bridge. So it's not that.
But here's the thing. It's a different country.
Yeah, but that's good. It's good that she got that. That's what I'm talking
Absolutely.
about. That's what I've been talking about. The problem I've been talking about, I've been saying from time I got on here, is that the athletes need to reach to other sponsors, not just the weight belts and the supplements, because that market's already cornered. You got this other
But the thing,
opportunity.
That ain't realistic though. It's not. Like you
yeah,
said, McDonald's. McDonald's ain't trying to
But
unless if they
I
want to
said,
like
but
promote like a chicken salad
Keith just
or
said,
a
Keith just
Caesar
said,
salad or some shit like that.
But Keith just said that Miss Shaw got a rice a cereal from Canada. That's good.
But that's one of her many. She
That's
ain't
one of many,
Yeah.
but that's good. So she's not harder for money. That's what
no.
I'm saying. The only way you do this is you are an athlete. You have to promote yourself to these brands. It don't have to be Nike. It doesn't have to be McDonald's. It's so many brands out there that will invest in you. If you're an athlete, doesn't matter if you're female or male. If you got what it takes, you got the personality and the look, they will invest in you.
But the thing is, you have to fit what they want, their criteria. Not, like like I said again, we love Andrea Shaw. We think she's an amazing woman. But she don't fit the criteria.
But she doesn't look like that
Every
all
day,
season.
yeah, but that's it. You got to listen to everyday mainstream layman would not find women like Andrea appealing. They feel like anyone with muscle is trying to be like a man. It's always the trans thing
Yes.
talking about this and that.
Yes.
I
They
agree,
would,
but then they push,
but like,
then they push the Victoria's plus size on people. Now that's not an aesthetic thing. When you like a lot of
but
people are not into fat women, but they pushing
Here's the
that.
but
thing.
here the thing
Or
is, fat women get more love than bodybuilders. For me,
So
bodybuilders.
here's the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's the thing, fella. See this right here? Is that feminine to you?
Yes.
listen, Keith, can I be honest with you?
Just
I
let's
know a
ask the
lot of.
question.
Let me tell you something
Just
right now.
ask
I
the
want
That's
question.
not
Like,
fair.
hold
You
on, hold on,
showcasing your wife
hold on,
like
hold on.
that.
Steve, let me say something right now. Let me say something right now. Keith,
You don't want to hear my fault.
hold on.
Hey,
Let me
hey,
be real.
hey, KL, if you don't compliment her, you're gay.
Nah, hey, hey,
just say,
hey,
honestly,
come
just
on
say, put
now.
it
Come
like that.
on.
Hey,
And just all you
hey,
ask
you
the
got
guys
hey,
and just
look,
listen.
I'm not showcasing. I'm just sitting there saying when these girls are sitting there talking about female bodybuilding is not sexy, no offense at all. I'm not trying to lay next to no fucking dude. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Let me
You
let me
know.
Well,
let,
we got some of the
hold on.
compliments a second ago. Here you go. We have here is Amazon Fitness Magazine. That's a man Glenn right there down the road. He right says Amazon Fitness sponsors. I just talked it. Everybody's saying sponsors, write a check if you really care. Yes, that's what you need to do. Also, Amazon's giving IL deals, LOL. So and this is for Monday J 2023 says Ashley's not placed top 5 2024. Miss Olympia, she's qualified, but eventually she will be threat to Angela. Andrea will come face to face with Ashley. I like Ashley, but she has to qualify to get to Olympia first. If she can't qualify, she's not going to go against Andrea. She has to beat up. You still have people like Teresa Vasic. You still have Jessica Martin. If Christina Mendoza gets herself
Got
together,
Helena coming back.
Hella's coming back.
Got my wife.
Then you still
The
get
2024
his wife.
Patina is gonna be huge. John, I've
And
seen the plan. John made it
yeah,
throw up all over the gym today. John has a plan for her. So it's real.
he has a. We see John has a. He has a plan. A particular plan. I'm just John taking charge. Tina, I know you puked, but you know what? That puke is complete.
George, Tina said she putting you in a headlock the next time she see you.
Oh.
I keep it 100.
And I'll put you in a leg lock. You like that? I'll put you
Oh.
down and snap it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tina, thank you for giving me a wet dream tonight. So I'm thinking I'm going to, but
I keep it
we
100.
also Kaya got a little hot to call her too, so we can't forget it. But yeah, if like I said, with this Raheem, if mainstream companies would give these women the opportunity to present their product, they would, but they don't because the fact is they go by what the everyday layman
Okay,
look for.
let me
That's
ask you
wait,
a
wait,
question.
wait, wait, finish. That's why bikini does so well because the fact is it's a division that works within everybody likes bikini girls because it's just what they want to see. Women with giant jugs and small little bodies. They don't
Okay,
want to see girls with the big muscles.
let me ask you a
They're
question.
not going to get the.
How often during off season, how many women are still in the bodybuilder condition off season?
Off season. That's when you just enjoy yourself. You don't
I
Okay.
just showed
go
you.
all out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's what you should see. But what I'm trying to say is that they're not going to be jacked up like during off season. Some of them, so you can still do that. Besides, we haven't heard a lot of women being like,
oh, I got turned down from this because they said I don't fit this criteria. I got turned down. We just make an assumption. You know what I'm saying?
They haven't been turned down before. I have
I
ladies
mean,
told me that I have ladies told me that they've been they went in for a position or something or working something. Most time, like it's not often they have a little one of these magazines will have like a thing where you want to become a model or something like that, a cover model, something like that. But generally, it's never any of the women who are bodybuilders or fitness competitors. It's always looking for girls who look like everyday girl looks like she works at lives right next
Well, I
door
mean,
to you.
here's a prime example. So Tina has been on the phone. What's his name? From Marvel. Kevin from Marvel. So they're trying to cast Tina as a Marvel character. Huh?
Kevin Feige?
Yeah, she's been on. You got to understand, Tina's been on Skype with. She's been on Skype with Steven Spielberg, Robbie Downer Jr. because they're trying to cast her as a Marvel person. It takes.
That's
He
cool.
got mad at Tina the other day because Tina's like, well, this has been a 2-year process. And he goes, do you know how long it takes to fucking make a movie? I mean, she was at the gym and he was pissed because she doesn't understand that it takes to. What did he say to you? Takes years to make these movies. So they've wanted us to fly to Ireland. They wanted us to fly to New York. They wanted us to move to LA, and we just won't do it. So you're right, Raheem. There's opportunities, but not every girl get these opportunities, because they don't put themselves out there. And you're right. Phil Heath said it in Generation
But
R.
you know,
If you look at Generation R1, Phil Heath says, not every person can get in front of a camera and speak. Not every person can get in front of a camera and act. So, that limits some of these people's, like Andrea. She is not, let's get away from the Andrea's look and that she's the champion. If you ever met Andrea, she's a very well-spoken person. She's a very humble person, and she's a sweetheart. So, look at George. Look at him.
I want to shout before. I want to shout Eunice Kitchens.
Hey, George, and you know one thing? You better keep that because they're closing down their publication.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, female body job mentioned it. Yeah, they're closing it down. But Eunice, she was there at the Olympia. She had her autograph and signed it for me. I mean, she told me she heard of me. I mean, I love this. I mean, I'm gonna right now. I've been, I need to
did you get a boner?
Yes.
George, you better shoot your shot, man.
I will.
He said, "Shoot your shot."
Like I said, I've shot my shot before, but it's up to her. She,
you never know. George, she might be that type of woman that likes fat guys. You never know. She'd be like, "I'm not into big dudes."
Raheem, you are absolutely right. Here's the thing about women. Not every. Tina's former husband before me was a big dude. Was a big dude. Not big as in good, big as in fat. He was a big dude, but that wasn't what drove her towards him. It was his personality,
Yeah.
So, everybody, it's like, everybody looks at facades versus what a person's inner soul is. And that's why I'm a big advocate, and I'll always be a big advocate of George being a big part of this sport, which it fucking sucks that he's not, because he understands, has the knowledge. He's not a creeper like a lot of these dudes who is trying to bring light to the sport of women's bodybuilding, which not a lot like him and Amazon, this guy from Amazon, are trying to do. But not a lot of guys do that, for the self-preservation of helping these women in this sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got here this is from my man Money J 2023. He says women's bodybuilders are beautiful. They are, yeah. Also, he said this. He said, did Tina just say leg lock? Damn. he says, okay. And he said he didn't expect that. She did say leg lock, and you can't do it for the Tina can't do it for the your husband because I want no problems. He's a big man.
You heard him.
Yeah, I wouldn't even deal with Marvel.
She said you guys are doing it in private, George.
Okay.
I wouldn't even deal with Marvel right now. Marvel is in such influx right now. I would have been, if I was your wife, I would be like, nah, let me go and look at something.
But still, there's still one of the big companies.
It's a big entity.
It's a big institute.
No, I'm saying
Yeah, can I ask you something, Keith? Why
What's this right now?
why you guys didn't take the offer to
Well,
go to
it's not
Marvel?
that we didn't take the offer. It's the guy who owns Wonder Woman right now. Is that what am I saying this correct?
The Wonder
The
Woman
guy who
DC.
owns Wonder Woman right now, they want to buy the rights, and he's being an ass because he still wants some. He still wants to have some control of the next Wonder Woman since the second one was a bomb, and that's what the influx is right now.
Keith,
Yeah,
Wonder Woman
I
is
think.
DC, not Marvel.
Yeah,
Huh?
Wonder Woman is
Yeah,
Wonder
DC,
Woman
not
is
Marvel.
DC.
DC.
Or
It's
DC?
DC.
DC?
DC. Yeah.
DC.
Kevin
Sorry,
Feige
Which
was
is
DC.
in
Warner
the
Brothers.
MCU.
Which is Warner Brothers.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. Because right now,
Yeah.
Warner Brothers, what they did was they took and they got
She
rid
could be
of his
one of the
patent dollars.
Amazons. Like if she's not like she don't have to be like the main, the Wonder Woman, but she could be like one of the Amazons,
Yeah,
the
because
Well, you know what's
Mysteria and
funny
stuff like that.
is when she talked to when she didn't know who Steven Spielberg, she didn't know who he was, or Robert Downey Jr., and they find that quite entertaining. She did because Tina doesn't watch movies like that, so they both loved her because she didn't really give a shit.
That's interesting.
well, I know Steve
That's
Spielberg.
interesting.
Hey, I watched most of his movies. Robert, he really turned his life around after drugs and stuff. He played Iron Man. Tony Stark is dead, but they was going to try to bring in Tom Cruise to be an alternate universe of Tony Stark, but I don't know what happened
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
originally Tom Cruise was attached to Iron Man. Here's a fun fact. You know Robert Downey Jr. used to be a cast member on Saturday Night Live?
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, he was on there for about a year or so.
Yeah. 20 years old he was.
Yeah.
But
It
what
wasn't
I'm
the
saying
youngest. Actually, the youngest was 17, 18. He was, what's his name?
Anthony Michael Hall.
Anthony Michael Hall. Yeah.
That's his friend. Anthony Michael Hall
Yeah.
got him onto the show. But now what I'm trying to say is
that movie got to be good. They did that movie together.
yeah, what I'm saying, Keith, at the end of the day is you're right. Not every like P. said, not everybody could be good in the front of a camera, in front of a mic. But as athletes, you gotta understand if this is a sport that doesn't pay, then you have to say, let me use this as a stepping stone to whatever field I'm going to go into in life. You don't have to be the next Arnold. You don't have to be the next Julia Roberts, whatever. You just take this bodybuilder and say, let me get, even though the check is not a lot, but let me collect what I can, invest it into something. Maybe I can do a real estate, flip houses, do this, and the third.
we
Whatever
have a business.
talent is. Yeah.
that's why Tina said she doesn't bank on bodybuilding. We have a business.
Yeah,
And we
but I'm just saying
make
don't
lots
do
of
it
money.
forever. What I'm saying is don't be in it forever because if everybody's not, I don't want to use the C word, but yeah, I want to say complain. But if this is what the sport is, and that's the roof, then that's it. You just got to say, okay, let me utilize what I can from it and get out. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to continue paying the fees and airfares out of pocket. It's making me broke. Let me just do it for a couple of years, flip that money, whatever little bit of money they give me back, and just flip it.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Jada Lynn Bailey is a prime example of that. I don't know if you know who she is. She created a brand, Flag No Fails, and her husband's a musician, and she was the first ever women's physique champion. But that's not how she made her money. She made her money off her brand. Kai Green made his money off his brand. So I get what you're saying. But everybody has to understand that you see a lot of Juan Morel, prime example, is another guy. He was top 10 at the Olympia, but ended up opening up a restaurant in New York, doing some other things. So you see a lot of bodybuilders these days starting to sit there and say, you know what? I need to do something else. I need to make more money, something else. I need to use my likeliness to do something else. And now a lot of people are doing that. So that's the world that we living in. Now it's harder for women than it is for men to do that right now. And that's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can agree to a point. I could. Like I said, you could take that money and flip it because at the end of the day, like I said, you go to not the OnlyFans. Dude's gonna be like, oh, I'm getting tired of the female bodybuilder. Been there, done that. Now it loses its flavor, it loses thoughts because there's so many influx of females doing that. So then what's gonna be next? What's gonna be next? Gonna be getting the money because people get tired of seeing the same old stuff already. Like in the 80s, it was the big breast women that got boring, the big butt women that got boring. You see, it's getting boring with that now. So it's gonna be like, I don't want to spend money on this no more.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
what happens.
here's the thing, Raheem. There's a thing called muscle worshiping, and it's been around forever,
Ever.
and it's not going anywhere because it's just like porn. It's just like muscle porn. And if there's actually a on Netflix. It was what is the movie, George? You know what I'm talking about? The women who end up killing her boyfriend, who was the bodybuilder.
Oh, you mean
I know what you're talking
Sally
about.
McNeil?
Yeah,
Yeah, Sally McNeil.
because
Yeah.
because she was doing that to support her boyfriend's bodybuilding career and found out she was cheating on him. So, Raheem, this
And
ain't going. Muscle worshiping and this
yeah,
shit is not. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
and you also can't forget the late Joanna
And
Thomas.
women want to
She
do
did
it
the
too.
movie.
So,
Yeah, you can't forget the late Joanna Thomas did the documentary "She Decides She." That was really brought attention to about women who do. She did sessions stuff. She's doing stuff, but that's the way lives make the money, because this is true. When like Tina can tell you this, because you remember we talked about a time about when she did the photo session with a certain person that he has a bad habit of urinating. But it's the way for certain ladies to make money in the shows. It was like a better way, like especially the women who win first place. But you know that it's for the fans. It's for us
And
guys.
here's
It's
the
for these
crazy thing,
ladies.
George. Iris Kyle used to do this shit back in the day, but she would go to
Everybody
Europe.
did it.
yeah.
Iris Kyle would go. I mean, and Raheem, here's a prime example. So I think it was her bicep offered my wife $10,000, and this is true, for 1 week to all access, anything goes, and she said, "Fuck no." Most women would say yes, but I'm like, not anybody's gonna see my cookies but me.
Touche.
Yeah, and also like this.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kale, because he does a lot of stuff. He talks ladies.
No, I said I remember with Irish Cow, she did a video, a mixed wrestling session video. Yeah, back and matter of fact, I downloaded it not too long ago. So yeah, I mean, there's a
And
lot of them that do it,
she's a
but it seems like
10-time Miss
they,
Olympia champion.
Yeah, because
yeah.
she went overseas because since especially growing in Germany, because Kayla's interview lady Ivana, who I interviewed a while back also, she's living in Germany now, and there's a big strong fan base over there in Germany and certain parts of Europe. This is break it down. Remember to watch these guys. They were pimps, and say like, where you make your money is you take certain women and put in certain areas. Black women do well in like the Scandinavian countries, the countries where there's not a lot of black women, like Sweden, Germany, Switzerland. Then your blonde, blue-eyed type would do good in like Japan, China, the Middle East, because there's not enough of them. There's not a lot of them in that area. You could pay certain women in certain areas would do a good amount of money. Like the typical women, like like the Chelsea, she got her OnlyFans. Chelsea's very popular. How much she got hers, but hers is not too risque compared to the others. It's a way for them to make income between the shows.
So George? So who has the risque pages?
Well, you see Margie now, but she doesn't complete anymore. She's got a little, bit more risque. There's also me care interviews of late, Hannah Hussein. I've also Angela has been a big risque. I've seen some stuff out here. There's one lady who I follow. Her name is Amy Mendez. She just did a show, and she has some stuff that's really, really, really risque. It's stuff that people, you don't have to go to their OnlyFans. Even Pornhub will put that stuff out there. Stuff from like her biceps, stuff from the other stuff, from like all films. You can go to certain sites. It's gotten very popular.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to these pages to go look at the bodybuilding stuff. I remember one time, even like I was like, one night I was doing nothing. I was watching Pumping Iron 2 on Pornhub. You can find that stuff everywhere. We got here. This is from my man Money J 2023 says maybe Tina could replace the actress who plays the She-Hulk in the MCU.
Nah, that ain't gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. But she could be the new She-Hulk. Might need that. Also, I can see her bringing a better She-Hulk in the movie. Yeah. Also, this is from Jay Busy. He says, Buzzy, just want to say it's great to see a channel that celebrates female bodybuilding and muscular females. Much love from Australia. Oh, for sure from Bobby. Thank you. Thank you. You know. Also, this is from Money J says George probably would want a leg lock from Andrea Shaw
You
bundles.
still
Yes,
hustle on that one.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Also, JBZ says Andrew Yo. He said, he says also he says that yeah, Amy Mendez is crazy on OnlyFans. I've seen her stuff. She has a great body. I will say that. She's she reminds me of a porn star back then. Used to be a fan of her name, Veronica Brazil. She had a big curly hair and like that. She kind of reminded me of her. Also, it says Jessica Irija is OnlyFans is great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there's a lot. It's a way for ladies to make money in between the shows. Some don't do it. That's up to them. That's their choice.
So here's the question. Here's the question of the day, and I want to say this: when they do it, I mean, we men we can watch it, but when we're men, not men, when they do it, right? People say is bodybuilding a sport? And if it's a sport, then they're gonna say, "But why would you do this? Why would you go into this route then?" Because they're gonna throw out how many, up and coming sports athletes don't make money, but they're not going that route. So it's like I said, it's a blurred line, and it's when it comes down to the sport. Like if it's that if the money's that hard to come by, and you're going this route, is it really a sport then?
Well, you can ask that. There's a lot of. I do content MMA. I know MMA fighters have done OnlyFans, and they don't give much compared to boxers. You can think about it. Like, not long ago it was like 10 years ago, not 10 years ago when Floyd Mayweather fought Conor McGregor. Floyd he don't fight nothing less for 100,000, 100 million. I mean, 100 million. Conor he got maybe about that much, but he had to give Dana White a cut because Dana White's daddy. He had to get, and even that, he fight for almost 3 years since that fight with Floyd because he made the most money in his career. Fresh Nagano just knocked down Tyson Fury. He made the most money in his entire MMA career with that one fight. I've seen plenty of former like guys like Anderson Silva, Ben Askren, another list of from MMA fighters that did boxing. They fought Jake Logan, Logan Jake Paul, whatever his name is, and they made a big chunk of change. Data says that his fighters are uncontracted workers. You might get the show money's gonna be like my man coach told me that show money's gonna be like maybe $10,000. You get your fight money, that's $10,000, and if you can make fight a night, that's $50,000. So, and after you pay your coaches, your trainers, this and that, you might be lucky if you don't get the bonus money tonight for knocking somebody out. You might be lucky. You might have after you pay everything else, you might have maybe $6,000 or $7,000 left in your pocket, plus taxes. Yeah. Anybody got something to say already?
Well, the biggest
Nah,
thing when it comes to this is, like Raheem says, are they being exploited in this sport? Because again, we had this is what we were talking about earlier, George. Everybody's talking about, Natalia, is that her name, doing all these shows, this, that, and other. Maybe she doesn't want to do fans only page. And so in order not to do fans only page, that's why she's competing in all these shows so she can stack up her chips. Some people, have principles and morals about themselves and don't want to do this shit.
Well, Italia, she does have.
It's like Tina said, get a fucking job.
Yeah, but Italia, she does have. You can subscribe to her on her IG, and I think it's like $10. And they can, I don't know what you get out of it. Maybe some pictures and stuff like that. Nothing too risky because she don't want to be too risky. There's plenty of gays who they may not do OnlyFans, but they do charge for more content on their IG. But it's up to what you're getting out of it.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this, Keith, too. That better every male, female bodybuilder should thank God that Dwayne Johnson didn't buy the promotion. because anybody that's doing risque, regardless if people was exploiting them or they did it because their backs against the wall, you gotta remember if he had bought Miss Olympia and he's going to promote it to a family base, like adults and family, right? Then all those athletes, remember this is not the 1970s no more where you could do that and everything gets lost. Once it's in the internet, it's out there. Doesn't matter if it's OnlyFans, doesn't matter if it's Streamline, blah blah blah. When these promoters with the big money goes to the TV deal, as an athlete, you gonna have to explain this OnlyFans, this stuff. How come my kids can find you on Pornhub? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? So in some
Well,
ways, you gotta be happy that didn't happen.
well, I would disagree with that in the notion of this.
Go
I
ahead.
would be happier if somebody like him did have it from the standpoint of the principalities of what we are seeing in the sport would be different and then headed in a more popular direction, and then we're probably having less of these conversations that we're having
Correct.
because because everything that dude touches right now turns to fucking gold, and I think, and here lies the problem, Raheem.
Mm-hmm.
There is a power to be in our sport right now that does not want to have to answer to anybody. And so I don't think that The Rock, would want to get into something that he didn't have power and control over. It's
Yeah.
not the athletes, it's not the fans on the girls or the athletes who have the fans only, because it's not just girls who have fans only pages. You got fucking dudes that have them as
Oh,
well.
that's what I
And
said. That's what I said. Male and guys. I said female
but
and
but
female.
but but from the standpoint of understanding that the infrastructure of in which we're talking about this sport would be completely different, and the people who are in control of the infrastructure wouldn't like that. So I think that's why the deal never came to fruition,
But
because
Key, I'm sorry to cut you off. I agree with you, but it seems like the powers that be are looking at this and saying, "I don't care. I'm turning a blind eye," because it's like by you
no,
not.
it's not they're turning a blind eye. Is that they're just they're more concerned about lining their pockets than
Yeah,
anybody
that's
else.
what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying because it's like, wait, I don't think like I don't think you should be doing. Not saying you're a grown person, you do what you want to do, but I don't think it's ideal for you representing the sport to be going this route. You know what I'm saying? Like paw control. Like
Well, I mean, but here's the thing, Raheem. And then I just talked to somebody about this not too long ago. There was a particular athlete that, because again, and I think he was in classic physique or maybe physique, who, and you tell me if this is right. So, as athletes, you say go get a job. So, go get a job can mean various and many different things, right?
yeah.
So that can mean my wife runs a bar, or this guy is a stripper, or this guy does this, or this guy does that. There's guys like me who have sponsors who get paid to fly out to different places to do appearances. Well, this athlete in particular guest posed at a show that wasn't an IFBB NPC sanctioned show, and not only did he qualify for the Olympia and got his Olympia qualification taken away from him this year, but also got suspended for a year.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah, I heard about that.
when I say that much control of them over our lives, that's ridiculous. That's like saying I train athletes in NAMBF, and
Hmm.
I was once told that don't let anybody take any pictures of you at the show because you're not a part of that federation. Well, I have natural athletes and I have athletes who have all different shapes and forms of athletes. Let's just say that. So should you tell me what I can and can't do to make a living, to make an income? Because not everybody makes the income as an IFBB pro,
True.
whether it's competing in shows or sponsorships and this and the other. That is a rare thing. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying from the standpoint of the powers that be try to control the athletes and the sport too much, but they do nothing to help the athletes
So
in some regards.
basically, it's like when your back is against the wall and those opportunities come, it's like what choice I have.
Exactly. I mean, how do you suspend a guy who, I don't know what his income is. I don't know who he even is. All I know is he did a guest pose at a show that wasn't an IFBB or NPC show, and got his Olympia qualification, and I don't know how he was going to place in the show. I don't even know who the guy is. But not only did he get his qualification that he worked his ass off for this year, but also suspended for a year. So how is that fair?
It's not.
Especially if the sport is not doing nothing for you to prosper in it.
So
I think
get out.
I think Chris Mims had, and I've talked about this before, Chris Mims, who does the Legion Sports Fest in Reno and has his own group of shows, who used to partner up with Lou Ferrigno, and then they had a falling out, once had an idea saying, okay, if you go online to buy a ticket for a show, can you, why not sit there and say, okay, who are you, like you just asked earlier, Raheem, who are you coming to watch? Are you coming to watch Tina Williams? Then I want to buy a ticket. Who are you coming to watch? Click, I'm coming to watch Tina Williams. How many people are coming to watch Tina Williams? How many people are coming to watch Kai Green? How many people are coming to watch whoever that they're competing in? And say, okay, from every ticket that is sold underneath your name, you get a profit for that. But that was his idea. Has it ever come to fruition? No. But that was the kind of idea that he had, which makes sense. But do you really think that these promoters want to give any money away to anybody besides the top 5 finishers or top 3 finishers at these shows? No. So it's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough these days. I mean, the time the money put into sport, and they barely get anything out of it. And like I said, it may not be your cup of tea, but it's a way for them, like I said, to make income. Not all the ladies do it. I know, like we talk about Mila Ash. Mila, she works in the corporate world, and she also she's a trainer and a coach. That's usually a lot of these do typically. And then you have someone like on the flip side, again, Hannah Hussein, who just turned pro this year, who does do OnlyFans because she has the content. I know Donna Slee says she doesn't like to do any of the. I mean, she did an interview with KL. She said she likes to do any of the photo sessions, but she do the ones with Wing Strength because they take care of them. Because hey, she wasn't a sponsor for a long time. A ambassador for a long time. I mean, but it's just if this was a sport where it was like mainstream sports, like football, baseball, basketball, where they can get like a nice little per diem, something from you may not have cracked the top, 3 or 5 of the show, but you at least they give you something to pay for your time. But
I agree.
Yeah, but like I said, this sport is just like when we talk about The Rock. Hey, Shaq was at the Olympia. He's a big fan of bodybuilding. He may be, that could be somebody.
But what I'm trying to say is that those for real, those dudes that be like, oh, they look like, if they'll say that in front of everybody, oh, these women bodybuilders like men, but behind the scene they'll be howling at them, they'll be going in DM.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not like it's not like they you got cats out there that will holler at Keith's wife. They be like in front of Keith, they be like, oh, your wife looks like a man. But behind the scene, he's like, yo, what's up, baby? What's going on?
Yeah.
She's like, wait, didn't you sound like a man? I was just playing around with you.
I've talked to those of who said they have met guys who one time saying something, then they get a glimpse of, hey, I didn't mean to say that to you. I didn't want you, because it's like this. This is basically like this. It's like when you date an ugly girl, you don't want nobody to know you're dating her, even though hey, she may be ugly to everybody else, but she's like good. She takes care of you. She makes sure you this and that. Get your food and breakfast in the morning. She may be ugly, but she's the best ugly woman you have. She loves you. But people always gonna say, hey, like, hey, no, I don't know her, I know her, no, but it's just you have to realize.
I mean, the biggest thing, what George is saying, Raheem, is simply this: the bodybuilding world is a niche thing. There's some women who see me who find me gross. I'm a big ass dude. I'm 285 pounds. There's some women like, I would never want to be with a guy like you. There's a lot of people intimidated by me, and that's fine. We're not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just women, it's men too. That women like, you're just too big. That's just too gross. And I'm like, okay, well, to each his own. Everybody has their right in their opinion. But it's bodybuilding is. The funny thing when I reference the bodybuilding, the first thing I have to say, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I do what Arnold Schwarzenegger do, because a lot of people don't understand what now with the world of CrossFit and powerlifting, they don't necessarily understand what the world of bodybuilding is. Because it's a niche thing.
Yeah, but not to get on. I'm gonna go off top, but still similar to what you said. Listen, I got my own place. I work and I work out. And I see chicks in New York will deal with a guy who's broke and not motivated. And I'm like, they'll
because
go for them
Facts.
over me.
Facts.
Okay. They will go with a guy that be like, baby, I'm 45 years old. I think I should get my GED. I'm gonna support you.
see that's thing is women like something
Over a
that's
dude who
broken.
got it like myself who have a degree, work out, and has a job. They will
Yeah.
not in New York, they will not rock with me
Well,
because about
here's the thing. Well, women in New York are
They trying
crazy
to
anyway.
fix you. That's why I make you the man they want you to be.
facts.
Yeah, see,
So
they
it doesn't
want something
matter.
that's already broken they can fix. They want a project. When you don't have anything, why can't? Well, he's already together. Like the women, don't worry about those women. What about the
No,
women
no,
say,
no.
here, you got your shit together, you're together. Hey, let's
No,
let's let's build something together.
I'm just showing you. It doesn't matter if you're a bodybuilder, female
You're right.
bodybuilder,
You're right.
person that's working. If you're about positivity, let's just keep it 100. No one's gonna rock with you. Like I said,
Nope.
listen. Let me tell you right now. If they could call, let's just choose your wife. If they could say your wife looks like a man, but they out here smashing chicks that look like sexy red, you're gonna be saying to yourself, wait a minute, hold on. You smashed this chick that actually looked like a man with a wig on, sexy red, but you call my wife a man. At least the difference between sexy red and my wife is a bodybuilder because it's a sport. She still look feminine, but it's just she got muscle. Sexy red
Yeah.
has no muscle, but she look like a dude with a rig. But you willing to get that pregnant?
That's
You're
so
right.
some dudes. It's the ass. It's the ass. So it's it keeps some
Hey,
women.
Raheem, I cannot agree with you more, bro.
Well, gentlemen, this was a great discussion. Like I
Yes.
said, and the season's getting a little quieter, right now. Also, out here, I just got a message from a lady on the phone. It was I want to shout out the lovely Miss Kim Watson. Today is her birthday, and I sent her a package. She sent me a
Happy
message saying
birthday.
she really appreciates it and congratulations, Kim. Happy birthday. I hope you get better. She wants to compete maybe next year. We hope to see her that. It said people. I got a couple interviews tomorrow. One lady, she is from the UK. She's an NPC competitor. One lady is here in the States. She's IFB Pro. Um, we probably might ask this. I might ask some of these questions in our discussion tomorrow. But I do appreciate my man Big Key coming through. He just hit out. He has, and Raheem appreciates you coming through. Also appreciate KL and also appreciate Tina. Bodybuilding is a tough sport. I mean, and also so again, I want to shout out Ashley. As you know, I think Ashley has a lot of potential. I think she has a good future in sport, wherever she falls at, But like I said, this was a great discussion. Hope we have some more. And the season is mine was over, especially women's bodybuilding, but we might have to talk about some stuff. I mean, I reach out some ladies, we might have discussions and stuff, especially if I can get a group of women on here. We can do is one thing about it, we should always talk about bodybuilding, the femininity thing. But like I said, I thank my brothers and my sister. I thank my brother KL Wonder, my brother Raheem Hamilton, my brother Big Keith Williams, my sister, my lovely sister Tina Williams, for stepping in and giving her thoughts and opinion, because we really do need women's vocal. You ladies are the ones we talk about. You ladies deserve recognition. I mean, I hope someday I do get to see Andrea Shaw in person. I would love to shoot my shot. Just talk to her if I can. Just say hi, how you doing? Yeah. Is your husband married like that? But folks, this is another episode of MuscleTalk. And shout out to all the people who came through, like also to Jay Busy, Money J 2023. Who else was on here? There's a lot of people on here. Also, my man X 23 came through. Susan Boob come through. Leroy Khan come through. I really appreciate y'all people. I mean, thank you for coming here, listen to me and listen to my my fellow fans of women's bodybuilding on here. And we hope we do more discussion. So if you you have a topic you want us to talk about, like I said, it's gonna be quiet for a good while. Not much going on, with those shows going up. The shows are all coming up. The shows I don't talk about bikini. I don't talk about the men's division. I do talk about women's bodybuilding. If there's anything you feel like yourself, who is a fan of the sport, you want to talk about, you can shoot me a comment in some video, or you can follow me on my IG. My IG all the way George page. You can follow me, shoot me a DM, tell me what you want to talk about. If you're a lady who want to come on here and maybe do a discussion one day, discuss about what's going on in bodybuilding, just particularly your division, you're welcome to come on here, because like I said, this is my channel to give you women a voice. You need a voice. You need someone who want to hear your story and share your story. Not enough people are doing it right now. So anyway, like I said, again, I'd like to thank all my brothers coming through. My man Keith Williams, Scuba Steve, Raheem Hammer coming through, KL coming through. Also, Tina for coming through. I appreciate anybody who watches for your comment, like, subscribe, support these ladies in the sport of bodybuilding. Show respect and also show love. And this man always your page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, don't subscribe. I'm out. Have a good evening.